want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, an intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes of me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop on the start bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell.
Dig motherfucking dog. Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sanders still going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sanders still continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot, Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Huddle Up Podcast. It is Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2024. We are back. We are live. We hope you are having a great week. If you're with us live, give us a like and a share. Interact with us in the comments wherever you are taking in the show live. If you're following us and watching us or listening to us after the fact, we certainly appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribe to every Huddle Up channel that you can get. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We are on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. So you can get us there. I just want to remind everybody that we are not going to be live on November the 5th, 2 weeks from today. No normal live show that week. There's certain current events that are going to be big that evening. I'm not sure exactly what those are, but we're going to take off that week. There may be some content details to get sorted out for show content that week, but stay tuned for that. We will get to that when we can. But no live show on Tuesday, November the 5th. I want to remind everyone as well, you can grab our merchandise over at tpublic.com. You can see the variety of some of the things, some of our offerings on the screen right now. We have other offerings on the store as well, so make sure you grab those. Support the show in all forms and fashion where you can. Would certainly appreciate that as well. So I want to invite the crew in here. Ernest, DJ, Christian will be fashionably late once again this week, but we go around the room. We will start with Mikey B. Mikey B, how you doing this week?
Good. The defense of the NBA championship has officially begun. A shout out to every person that is a Knicks fan. That trade really worked out well for you, didn't it?
Wow.
Season's over.
Fired right out of the gate. Student of the game, Kyle Nash. How we doing this week?
I would talk NBA, but then I would be vitalating me saying I'm not going to play back-to-backs anymore in my career. Anyways, listen, joking aside, I just wanted to tell you that I learned a valuable lesson this week, that if I call people names, yell, scream, and act like a child, I'm going to get exactly what I want. No, I don't mean anything about the Texas call. I'm talking about Vandy getting ranked, bitches. Woo!
He did it. He called the shot. The first time in 5+ years,
bro,
anybody on the national stage listens to our advice, and it's Vanderbilt getting ranked. But
I'll take it.
Here we are. Here we are. And that's a thing that has happened. Sean, welcome back to the show. Everything back in one piece down there in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's one piece, but less pieces. Ton of cleanup to do down here, all around. It's not my home is in much better shape than some, and it's going to be quite a process. But we're back. We're plugged in. We're live, and a little less distracted from the world of sports. So it's nice to have sports back. It's nice to have you guys back. Nice to have my students in the chat room back. Nice to see you guys. And it's gonna be a fun show.
Welcome back to the show, man. Seriously.
Lamar Jackson, good at football.
Facts.
Good at football.
That's good.
Matt, how you doing this week?
No complaints. Solid football weekend for the whole household, actually, since despite trading for his best friend, Aaron Rodgers is still not good at football, unfortunately, New York Jets fans. And I do have a quick question for Mikey B. Which one of those hilarious Knicks trades are we talking about?
I'm going to go with the Karl Anthony Towns for breaking up the Villanova boys, because
that's what I was hoping.
Dante DiVincenzo would have at least been able to play some defense today.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a great follow-up, Matt, because it could certainly be a couple. But all right. Well, like I said, EJ will be joining us eventually, probably. But let's dive into it. And let's take a look back at the weekend that was, and let's look into what we learned this past weekend. Matt, we'll start with you. What did you learn this past weekend?
I learned that college football is just absolutely drunk this year. It's they finally opened it up to 12 teams, and we thought that there might be 12 clear teams by the time we got to playoff formation. We might be arguing about
insane
16 that have a legitimate argument to make it in. Unfortunately, Florida State, not one of those teams.
Florida State Seminole Vesicles?
Close. Yeah. But college football, like every week, it's like, okay, well now, maybe these teams are starting to figure it out, and, we're starting to make a clear picture over here. And then it's just like, nope, you still don't have anything. You still don't have anything figured out. And we're
not even that heavy, like hard liquor drunk either. It's like freaking Valley Girl White Claw drunk. It's just sloppy as hell.
Yeah.
Right. Just it's a sloppy, it's a mess.
I couldn't tell you if it was on this show or if it was just like talking with people, like when they were expanding it. It may have just been on the phone with you, Jim. I just talking about when they were expanding the playoff and how, like, oh, is it going to fix everything? I'm like, every year you can go down to number 8, you can go down to number 12, you can go down to number 16. There's debate there. I mean, obviously it's going to eliminate, like, well, if you didn't want to be in this conversation, you should have been in the top 5. You have less, argument in your fight, but it's going to get entertaining, and there's going to be a lot of teams vying for that 8 to 12 slot. There's going to be a lot of sloppy teams. There's going to be some hot teams at the end of the year that might push in here. So, it's going to be a sprint to the finish for them.
Yeah, sure is. And these conference games are going to become a lot more important. Your matchups when you're in that 20 to 10 range are going to become very important, even more important as we come down the stretch. Again, like, even though there's a bigger field, that situation of not only who you lose to, but when you lose is still going to be a vital piece to the puzzle, because, you can hopefully recover from a terrible loss in September, but can you recover from a decent loss, mediocre loss, whatever, a better loss, a good loss in late October, early November, like that, you know what I mean? So like that's going to be the questions. We're 2 weeks away from the first college football playoff ranking. Everything we do, and again, we're going to go through the what the playoff would look like this week. We're going to go through that exercise again. We're 2 weeks out from the actual first rankings, and then we're going to see what does this committee do? Because we're playing like fantasy ball right now still, and until we actually see what the committee does. Again, you're locked into the Power Four, a group of 5. Then there's the at-larges, and those 7 teams are the big unknown, and we have we have a little bit of an idea maybe what they're going to do with those, but we won't know for sure.
Well, Jim, not as much as the big unknown as those people outside those 6 or 7 teams or whatever you're calling it too, as Vanderbilt continues to creep up, baby.
Oh, stop it.
They're sneaking in. They are one of a bunch of teams with only one SEC loss, which is pretty wild.
And hey, if all of those teams lose 5 games and Florida State wins out,
no.
They'd still be looking in. They'd still
yeah, they're still
oh man,
they still are not good.
It's a fun storyline.
Not great, Bob.
Thing sucks.
All right, Sean, what did you learn this past weekend?
What did I learn? Well, let me just throw some numbers out here for you. I gotta pull it up here. I had some numbers on the ready. I'm going to throw 4 numbers out for you. The numbers are 62, 61, 43, and 47. And no, those are not my scores on my last 4 front nines at Congo River Mini Golf. Those are.
But those were also your last 4 scores in the front 9.
It just conveniently is close to my
Not
usual
just
front 9 at the.
Just not just the
level.
Yeah.
That's what I'm happy with.
Those 4 numbers are the positive point differential for the NFC North on their schedule through the current games. And I am going to put my foot in my mouth a little bit here. I was very adamant that the Lions would have no trouble with the NFC North, that the Lions would run away, and that there was no other talent in the NFC North, at least from what I saw on paper. And I was wrong. The NFC North, I learned, is legit. It is here to fight. You have that Lions Vikings game was arguably the best game of the weekend, which, even though falling short, sold a lot of America on the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings showed that they are a legitimate team. I think the Packers, who are still winning games, and let's not forget the one team that didn't play is a Bears team whose offense has seemed to gotten wheels under them. They've won 3 in a row, and if they had 11 more points in the 2 games before that, would have 6 in a row. But the offense was sputtering at that point, so I'm not going to fight for those 2 very much. But I'm not saying the Bears are going to challenge the Lions. That's not what I'm saying. But my point is, this is going to be a dogfight the rest of the way, and you're probably going to see 2, maybe 3 of these teams when the season's done and we roll into the playoffs. So I'm buying the NFC North officially as an entire division for the first time all year.
Yeah, I think the NFC North is arguably the best. We got a question here in the comments: AFC North or NFC North, who's better?
Good question, Yvonne.
Today, you have to say, at least for the moment, that the NFC North is in the conversation more than they ever have been. I'm not going to go sell out directly, and I'm sure there'll be more on that later during tool time, but can we please acknowledge that the Lions did an awful lot to hand the Vikings the game, and then also pulled the fire alarm in the orphanage where the fire was burning that they started to save the day? Can we please remember that that's a thing that happened?
Oh, absolutely. The Lions tried their best, and the Lions showed that when push comes to shove, I think a lot like the overtime drive a few weeks ago where they went, let's just play football the way we play. Let's stop trying to overthink it. I think both of those scenarios are ones where, like, it shows that, that coaching staff, when push comes to shove and remembers what they are, can push around anybody there. But for me, it was the Vikings capitalizing on those opportunities and the Vikings hanging in there. I mean, if a team's going to hand it to you and you can't do anything with it, it doesn't matter. And I think going into the season, I thought the Vikings were that.
Well,
I would have put the Vikings there, especially with Sam Darnold at the helm.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's a bad point either. Where I feel compelled to mention something goes back to points I've made in the past on this show, and then getting refuted with other comebacks in the form of the Vikings have a history of letting teams back in games, and it bit them here. Okay.
Yeah.
Ironically, I know people didn't love what Jordan did in his first game back, but they still nearly came back to win that football game. And luck this time did not go the way of the Vikings. So again, not here to say that the Vikings are bad, but or that the NFC North isn't absolutely better than it's been in the past, because they've been a laughing stock. If I'm Justin Fields, I am somewhat bitter of how much they went to coddle Caleb Williams and not him. Separate conversation. I get it.
Sure.
You know, Caleb Williams in the style that Cam Newton did it for Rich Rodriguez may have saved Eberflus's job in Chicago. Okay. As much as we accuse quarterbacks of getting people fired, let's acknowledge it when the opposite happens, right? But the main point I like about the main thing I like about your point is that you're buying the division on the whole. And for that right now, you can't, there's no argument for that. I'm pumping the brakes a bit on the Vikings as the careful buyer here.
I don't think the Vikings will finish as the 2 in that division. I think the Packers will innately catch them. I didn't expect it to be this tight. And as for Ivan's question down there, because of everything I just said, I think that the NFC North has the best team out of the 8 between the NFC and the AFC. I think the Lions edge out the Ravens for me, and they don't have the worst, which is the Browns. More on that later. So I think when you factor in having the best and not having the Browns, I don't think it's a question that right now the NFC North is the better division. I mean Steelers and Ravens is very great, and I think the Bengals are looking to maybe make a push here, at least with their offense, so they may win some games, but the Browns are just going to drag that division down.
I think the Bengals. Oh, real quick, Jim. So I'll finish.
And then I'll let these other guys talk about it.
I think for me, the Bengals' existence is what decides it for the North, or for the NFC, rather than the Browns. Because though the Browns are obviously a good point, I'm not taking that, Sean. But you have 3 viable teams. I don't think anybody outside of one particular person, and I don't even think he thinks so. No offense, Byrne. At this point, thinks that anything short of some sort of deal with a deity or demonic entity will make the Bengals a competitive team for the division crown in the AFC North. Whereas, as you said, Sean, all 3 of those teams in the Packers, Vikings, and Lions have a shot to win that division.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think it's a question of is the NFC North or the AFC North better. My question would be, what division is better than the NFC North right now? Because I don't have one.
The only one who would compete is the AFC North. I mean, the question's well posed in that way.
Yeah, like to me right now, the NFC North is the number 1 division of football. We can have debates, and we'll get there with the power rankings of what teams are better. But I don't think as a 4-team unit, I don't think there's a better one in football right now than the NFC North.
But speaking of power rankings and tool time,
Ernest DJ Christian, welcome to the show.
Good evening, gents. How you guys doing?
You're trying to conserve the van battery or whatever? It's like
we're on electric now. So.
I mean, he just drove through the hole he made in the wall last time he drove his sorry ass in late. So
you know, a lot of body work. You know, I'm saying, hey, Sean, welcome back, buddy.
Oh,
damn,
we
missed you.
Something.
Can you please get rid of that jersey though, please? Deshaun Jackson gave me nightmares for years. Please. God damn it.
Can I ask a question to the basketball expert over there?
Allegedly.
Jim? Go ahead.
Allegedly. No, you. New York Knicks season over?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just making sure. Getting whacked on opening night.
Also, breaking news on Nursery Podcast today. Kyle, Nursery Podcast today. Where's the
He's not giving you the ding.
God damn it.
Breaking news.
Citrus season over as well, too. We announced it today on the show. Citrus season already over.
Don't do math.
Sorry, Matt.
Said that like 3 weeks ago.
I already made the Joel Embiid not playing back-to-backs joke before you got here.
Season over. Yeah, bad.
No, I did say that on
Game over.
Wait a sec.
On Ernest speaking.
Wait a second. Is this a political show now?
What do you mean?
Jim, what do you ooh.
What do you mean?
Harris Walls on one side, stop Trump the other side.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, it's just,
It's not a
political show. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
my background.
Back off, buddy.
I like it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, why
Don't
would
be rude. Don't be rude.
Jeremy checking in with us.
I mean,
Ding bong, ding bong bong.
why would
all
he
right.
stop being a donkey now? That's my question.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash. What did you learn this past weekend?
Boy, oh boy, can you please not disrespect the diagnosis of Dr. Foreman? Okay. All you fools on this show, golly jeepers, I don't know why you would start Russell Carrington Wilson, even though I probably didn't say Carrington because I don't respect Rusty like that. I have no idea why he would be starting. And this is less about me making fun of other people and more me tooting my horn about it going exactly the way I said that it might go. On this show, as a matter of fact, last week. Listen, it's just as simple as Russell Carrington Wilson gives that Steelers offense more options than Justin Fields does. And I still what's that?
Did he though?
Aerial wise, 100%. Now I know he started bad, obviously, but he needed to knock some rust off. He's old. Okay. So, but has Justin Fields had a passing night like that where he looked as comfortable doing it? I don't think so. Am I here to say that the Steelers are now the Super Bowl favorite? No, of course not. But that game went about as it could have gone or should be expected to be gone from a defensive standpoint against the hapless Jets, which, if you could please cue up Lucifer Morningstar when it comes to the Jets and all the people who yes, there.
That's to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Try to tell you they wouldn't make the playoffs, but yeah. So it's not just about you there, kiddo. If I were talking about the Browns, then it would be just about you.
Sorry,
but
Can I provide a stat that'll help you in your Russell Wilson argument?
Go for it, brother.
So next gen stat, it was one of my favorite things. I actually had a screenshot of it in case it came up at any point. Russell Wilson under center. He went under center for 41 of 66 snaps, which is the highest in a game since 2016. But the stat that Russell proves that shows what you're trying to say, I think, and at least that was baffling to me. Russell Wilson in play action was 8 of 9 for 150 yards on under center play action dropbacks, which is the most by a Steelers quarterback since 2016. And it's something that they've been unable to do to push defenses back and confuse defenses under Fields. And I think that type of statistic is the kind of thing. Wilson isn't the Wilson we remember from Seattle. He's definitely aging. He's going to have, but what he's going to do, and he's the reason why I traded for Pickens in 3 different fantasy leagues in the last 2 weeks, knowing this move was coming, is he's going to get those guys separation. He's going to get the matchups that will help.
And it will improve Najee Harris's game by extension.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Think about it, guys. Though, I didn't watch enough Broncos football to know who the play action running threat was there. But as he had a legitimate play action threat since
the Denver Broncos,
since Skittles, Marshawn
Lynch.
I mean, maybe Thomas Rawls, maybe Carson. I don't know. But we all do, or at least I remember in 2017 where he was gypped out of MVP votes just because the team was bad. I shouldn't say the team was bad. It was because in week 17 they missed the playoffs. They were a playoff competitive team. I don't want to say bad, where he was obviously the top passer and the top rusher for the team, but we handed it to somebody else. So I don't know. The thing I love about that stat that you point out, Sean, is I don't know the last time he would have had the opportunity to be effective in play action.
I mean, shout out to Russell Wilson for winning preseason game number 1 against the Jets defense that was absolutely abysmal. He gets a second tune-up against another abysmal New York team in the Giants this week before he runs into a real slate.
Okay, that's cute, Mike, but for all the doubt and how inevitable he was supposed to fail, that's just you can't have it both ways argument, buddy. And I'm not here to tell you you're wrong about the fact that they weren't 100%, but the doubt permeated not just this panel, but the nation. And you just had to question Omar Epps once again.
I'm more referencing the fact that we're sitting here giving him like these praises of that he beat, I don't know, Baltimore or Kansas City, who he has on the docket later this season.
And that was when he will be tested. Nobody's
correct.
saying
And this is what I'm saying. congratulations on winning your preseason game. You get another tune-up game against the Giants before you really run into the stretch of the season where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to need him.
There was less but there was less snark when you said it that way.
You didn't let me
finish. That's kind of true.
I mean, it's fair. You did not let him get his whole point out.
I mean,
here's the thing. Go ahead, Mike. Before
I mean, he gets the Jets, he gets the Giants, then he has the Commanders on the road, and then Baltimore. So if he has 2 tune-up games against inferior defenses and teams that are dealing with defensive injuries to get him comfortable running the offense that the Steelers are asking him to run, it's a step in the right direction. But the 4 or 5 weeks post Giants game will be is Russell Wilson a difference maker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or is it just either quarterback really could do okay because the defense is good and is going to keep them in games, and the offense going through Najee Harris is what they're going to have to do?
By the way, congratulations once again on proving Mike Tomlin's plan being smart in doing it when he did it, because he gave him 2 tune-up games.
Also,
absolutely.
Also, are we calling the Jets defense like bad? Because part of this week they were really good.
As an answer, EJ, he said they were hurt. Sauce Gardner was injured going into that game. Not having your top corner matters.
I mean, and the Giants team is the one thing they have right this year. One thing.
Leader in sacks, apparently.
Brother, they could run you out at quarterback and beat the Giants this week, bud. The Giants aren't good.
No, we're not saying the Giants aren't good. We're saying the defense is solid.
Okay, but if he wins 17-3 and throws for 2 touchdowns, mission accomplished. He won his second preseason game.
And I see your point. And I think your point's valid. I'm gonna say we it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, he's back, Pro Bowler, fucking sign him to another fucking max deal. Same time,
nobody was ever signing him to a max deal.
There was also a lot of bailouts from Pickens in that game.
There are a couple of throws there that that Pickens makes some. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, and I don't know if it was me that said it last week. I think so. Somebody, we touched on it last week. The reason that you made the choice to switch to Fields when you did is because you were playing the Jets and you were playing the Giants. Yeah, if you go into, and I think we were even talking about it in the group in the first half of that game on Sunday, is like, how quickly do we pull the plug here? Because it was not a good start to the game. It was a bad start to the game in the Pittsburgh Steelers and Russell Wilson. So it could have very easily continued down that path, and Justin Fields is the locked in starter until there's a point where he would get injured. So you made the switch now. That was the right choice. You have 2 weeks of quote easier football. Nothing is ever easy in the NFL, but easier football to get ready to go into the bye week and prepare for 2 hard games, divisional matchups, and then a pretty tough slate to close out the season. Like I think that was without question, it was the smart choice.
Going into the game on Sunday, the Jets team was ranked 2nd in the league.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Tool. Listen.
Stop looking at stats and watch the game, dude. I mean,
okay, again, I'm just telling.
Okay, it was 15-13 at the half. Mike Tomlin made great second half adjustments. Also, Garrett Wilson had a ball hit him dead in the chest that ended up as an interception that got returned halfway into the damn red zone for them to waltz into the end zone.
Aaron Rodgers' fault then. There you go. Aaron Rodgers' fault then.
Best play of the game by Devontae Adams too, making a tackle on
that.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. All I'm saying is that this Jets team sucks.
Let's also not act like they were.
Shout out to Devontae Adams for losing to the same team in consecutive weeks. Good on Devontae
shit, that's
Adams.
Right.
Ship him off to the New York Giants so he can do it a third time.
That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Emmanuel Acho. Appreciate that point. Not you, Sean, the one that doesn't watch the games.
Yes.
Speaking of bald Emmanuel Acho, EJ, what did you learn this past week?
Fuck you, Jim. Fuck you, Kyle. Again, Kyle, for the second time today. My takeaway this week, to all the fucking clowns out there for the last couple of years saying that Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback, go fuck yourself. Seriously, you watched that last night? Go fuck yourself. There has been a narrative for the last his entire career, but more so even the last couple of years, that Lamar Jackson is just a running back. He's really a running back. Can we end that shit now? Can we
why
please
are we
put
gonna
that to
go
bed?
fuck ourselves?
Well,
No, he's not talking.
Wait, Mike, unless you're one of them. I mean, I'm not talking to you unless you
No.
claiming or one of those.
I know.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm asking. You're sitting here, and I'll give
Because
Lamar
there are people.
Good
There are
arm.
people. Okay, there are people on my timeline. People who you probably know personally, but I'm just saying that have said Lamar Jackson is a glorified running back.
I mean,
go fuck yourself.
But what did he do to make this be your attitude? Because here's the thing.
Doing this?
200, buddy. You're saying that he had this great game passing. Sure, he threw for 5 touchdowns and 281 yards. Kirk Cousins, who we've made fun of for 3 years on this program, threw for 509 yards against the same defense.
Look, I'm just making the point about Lamar. Okay, again, he's a running back.
He had a great game, absolutely.
But he's a running back. That's all I'm saying. He's a running back. He's a running back doing that. So
the best way to let the narrative die is to stop giving it attention. So maybe you should shut the fuck up.
There it is.
That's not the answer, though, because there are people who come into this game who still say it now to this day. So, I mean, seriously.
Stop pointing it out.
Well, again, it's still
into existence.
But this is why we're here to address it. That's all.
I mean,
I
bang
bang. Look at that. Bang bang.
Okay, but when I asked you to address your reasoning behind it, you sat there and just kept on telling me that he's a glorified running back. I mean, if you would have told me that he only threw 5 incompletions, that he threw 5 touchdowns, had 281 yards against the top 10 defense, I would have looked at you and been like, oh, cool. But now you're just telling me that he threw for 300 less yards than Kirk Coupons did against the same defense.
But why are we doing the whole Kirk thing? But first of all, hold on. No one ever said Kirk Cousins was a good quarterback. I never said that. Certainly, I never said that.
We have a running joke about the guy can't win in prime time. We called him Kirk Coupons for fucking 3 years.
A joke that you guys started. I never started. I was in on that joke.
Okay, hold on.
So again, stop. No, you stop.
I
was part of that joke. In fact, I never called him Kirk Coupons, even in our text.
Lamar Jackson for MVP. I got it. Sign him up.
Technically, he's probably the lead MVP right now. To be honest with you.
What I think
go Derrick Henry.
Trying to say is just the latest in a version of moronic takes that Lamar Demetrius Jackson can't throw the football, being disproven once again. They'll probably never go away, as Matt stated earlier. But you guys who can't figure it out, EJ's done with you. F you. I think is what he means.
Right. And the funny thing, at EJ, you've called him coupons twice in the last month.
No, I'm not.
It's in the group chat.
Okay,
it's in the.
Go find. Okay, then you go find it. If you find that, I said,
dummy.
Wait, show it to me. Prove it to me.
All right,
find it.
Lamar Jackson, 5th in the league in passing yards. He is 9th in the league in yards per game.
Not bad for running back.
2nd in the league in passing touchdowns, tied with Jordan Love. Behind.
Not bad for running back. Producer to make the point for the guest better than the guest can. But continue.
Right, because I saw him floundering, just going, he's not a running back. He's not a running back. He's not a running back. I thought I'd help him. By actually looking something.
Hey,
else.
look, not bad for running back. They're not bad.
He also heard something in a press conference that made him realize he's not a running back.
Exactly.
Check the group chat, EJ.
You also know who's having a great year that they say is an alleged running back? Josh Allen, but we don't hear him talking about not being a good quarterback. We hear him saying how he struggles. He not 9 of 30. 9 of 30 against the Texans, and he's a bad quarterback. He hasn't thrown a pick yet.
I've never said anything about. But why? But why is one to be other though? I'm not saying Josh Allen's not good.
Shut up, EJ. This is actually an important point.
You had him ranked 7 before the season started.
Shut up, EJ. Can we stop bringing up the 9 and 30 from the quarterback who was obviously concussed, please?
Yeah.
Kyle, that was an ankle injury.
Oh, shut up.
No, allegedly. Allegedly it was.
I'm just going off the Bills injury report. All I can do is
allegedly.
Facts were feelings.
Right. Is just present the facts as they were given. They listed him as having an ankle. Yeah.
And Aaron Charles Rodgers was inoculated, Jim.
Well, that's
allegedly.
I mean, here's the deal, and the thing that has helped not only this season, but at points last season before the injury bug bit Baltimore again, is for the first time in his career, Baltimore has put more weapons around him. I know we laughed at Old Bones Jr., Odell Beckham, being a weapon in Baltimore, but sadly, he was still the best option that the man had outside of Mark Andrews, like during his career.
And Zay Flowers, can we?
Yeah, and Zay now coming into his own. Rashad Bateman performing better. He has two up. Mark Andrews found his hands again. Thank God, got the fantasy win on that one. So like your weapons there. Oh, and there's this guy named Derrick Henry who's just like running past everybody and everything. That is certainly helping out the matter because defenses.
Yeah, he's strong.
Right, like defenses can't just.
He's strong.
Like you don't just have this weird conglomeration of bad running backs next to Lamar Jackson. You have one of the, if not the best in the game right now. So you can't just key on in Lamar. You can't just key in on Zay Flowers. You can't just key in on Mark Andrews. Like the
Isaiah Likely's and the Justice Hills of the world are open underneath.
Exactly.
And
like
he just finds them.
Like Baltimore finally has a really good, balanced offense full of weapons for this good quarterback. Yes, I used the word quarterback, EJ. You don't have to get mad.
Thank you.
I thought he was a running back.
Wide receiver.
That's what it was.
Well, according to fucking, was it Bill Polian?
Gadget player.
Well,
I respect too.
Your first problem is quoting Bill Polian.
Oh, Bill Polian. Bill Polian was a really good GM. Stop.
Bill Polian has
So like I like that. Those are the things that are helping in the matter. Again, I think all of us that are smart enough about the game of football to know the talent of the player, we're aware of how good Lamar Jackson was. Now, like there's other people who are kind of waking up to the fact that the man actually is a really good quarterback who has a two-way attack because he can run the ball efficiently as well.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I mean, I say this: Lamar Jackson, good quarterback, fantastic athlete.
Sure.
That's an absolutely great way to describe it. Mikey B, what did you learn this weekend?
Well, we've talked a lot about the National Football League, and we've talked about how drunk the NCAA has been.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Commodore! Woo!
I'm gonna add a 6-pack of beer to that one. We talked and we got into a spirited debate on this show about Big 12 at points, about Iowa State's fairy tale season coming to an end, and BYU having a great defense.
Pew, pew, pew.
Both of those teams, with under 11 seconds left, had to find a way to hit walk-off touchdowns to stay undefeated. And I watched the BYU game, and literally I watched a redshirt sophomore making his fourth start for Oklahoma State run the ball so carelessly and efficiently because BYU for some reason didn't want to tackle on a Friday night. I don't know. Weird. Maybe they should only play on Saturdays. Maybe it's a BYU thing. I don't know. They're weird.
They are weird.
So
it's a fair take.
What I learned here is that the Big 12, while you have two teams in the top 13, I have no fucking idea who's going to win this goddamn conference.
That was the case even before it started, gentlemen. I mean, we liked Utah, but once the moon started, well, I should say stopped rising. See what I did there?
Did you say Utes?
It was at that point.
That was a clever play.
What a fucking letdown.
And it was at that point, ironically, that the conference started acting like it was under a full moon. Like there is a universe where Jim will not know what to do with himself should either BYU falter and Iowa State falter and Colorado sneaks in. Oh, poor Jim Neese. He'll be in big trouble.
I literally was about to say there is a world where our Big 12 title game could be Kansas State versus Colorado.
Oh God,
that'll just prove everything I think about the Big 12 correct.
Well, at least it didn't lose 25. Am I right?
Let's see Jim's head explode. It'd be nice.
What? I mean, it proves that when you have an easier field that it's easier to win.
Yeah, like playing against a bunch of ACC teams, right?
Exactly. Notre Dame.
You can't say that Florida State.
Explaining the joke.
We suck.
You can't say that Florida State. You play.
We suck. I already know that already.
Sit down, Tallahassee, and think about what you've done, or should I say, not done?
That's why we suck.
By the way, dummy, by not saying the college out loud, that's the joke, dumbass. Okay.
Oh well.
He's gonna red Foreman, Jim.
You're so bad at this, EJ.
No.
Dumbass.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Big 12 has turned out to be a big question mark across the board because the injuries to Utah in key positions. So it's another situation of a conference that that the field is even, not great, but even. And if teams start canceling each other out, we're going to see results that we didn't expect. Unless the Big 12 pulls what the ACC is doing with Miami and just hitching their wagon to the best one and making sure that one comes out on top every week.
Kind of already starting to do it, right, with Iowa State.
A little bit, maybe. I didn't see much of that one, but
I didn't watch most of that game. I watched 90% of the BYU game, and it didn't feel like anyone was being overly officiated one way or another.
If only somebody on this panel covered UCF for the Black and Gold Banneret, we could figure all this out.
Who does that?
Some fat ass, apparently.
News to me.
Never heard of him. It would be news to you, man. Never heard of him. But yeah, I mean, look, congratulations to Colorado. You're almost bowl eligible. I'm sure you'll get there.
Did that hurt to say?
I was gonna say that felt like it stung.
Fucking
gross.
say what I'm saying.
It's gross, but like, I mean, cool.
Dion, baby.
Hold on. I don't think it's fair to do that exactly. This is a team, Jim, that was getting disrespected so hard in the preseason that 4.5 wins was their over-under. Okay? Just admit it, Vegas. You fucking whiffed. Okay? It's all right. Just like Fox Big Noon Kickoff completely whiffed thinking that UCF would dominate. It's okay. Admit it. You blew it.
It happens.
You know,
We can all take solace in the fact that in the middle of a football season, the University of Indiana is currently ranked higher than the University of Alabama.
That shit is what?
That
for now.
By the way, did you see the breaking news also on Vanderbilt?
No,
they
They're
did
ranked. Yes, we know.
They're ranked.
Oh yeah. If you would have gotten here on time, you would have known that.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I would have placed that bet. I'd have been like, "How much you want to bet EJ is going to bring up Vanderbilt?" After
That's what I'm here for, buddy. So I'm here for, buddy.
Happy to see you.
Yes. Deshaun Jackson, fucking jersey. Get out of here.
I'm gonna have it back there every time now. Like,
damn it! It's so triggering though, dude. It's so fucking.
I'll wear
triggering.
my signed one next time.
Yeah, that's all.
I mean,
Jax.
It's a good thing we don't have a Giants fan on this.
That is a good thing. That is
good to know.
That'd be really embarrassing if you
Dig
were
out
still
your old
playing.
Plaxico Burris jersey, so you two can shoot.
Does it have like a bullet hole through it, or
I mean, that's what he does with his arguments: is shoot himself.
Right. That's why it's the perfect jersey for EJ.
I see what
That's kind of mean. Kyle, that's a low blow. Stop that.
That's so good. That's the feelings, EJ Christian.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
Leave D-Jax alone.
Okay, Ben Shapiro, calm down.
Hey, I am not that short.
Or that Jewish either.
Anyone coming to his defense?
Hey, I have a 49ers yarmulke. You back off.
Really?
That's true.
I wore it for I was the best man in a Jewish ceremony for a wedding, and they made yarmulkes for all the best men with insignias on them, and I got a 49ers yarmulke. Yes.
See, now that's a
Muzzle
wedding
top,
gift I can
Kyle.
get behind.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I think you get under them, Matt. I don't think you get
No,
behind.
it's-
You get
You see, I can say Jewish jokes because I'm actually part Jew.
No.
Oh,
Not
and
how
she
that
can
works.
make black jokes too, right?
Maybe your spending habits.
Well, that too.
Yes.
That too. Yes, Mike, you know too well. No.
This may be another topic for another podcast, but part Jewish.
Thank you.
I didn't think that was possible.
Funny. He doesn't look Jewish.
And there you go.
Man.
I love that movie.
The thing I learned this weekend, and I may have already known it, but is this year's version of the SEC is not what we've come to know. I'm not saying they're not the best conference in college football, but the field is a lot different. You know, like when in the last couple of years, and maybe the thing that's helpful about it too is the 12-team playoff. So there's kind of more teams from other places in play. But like in years past, like we were talking about, like how is the committee gonna like strong arm 3 SEC teams into the top 4 spots or something like that, or at least 2 out of the 4. But you know, like this year, you know, we've seen, you know, Alabama, life after Nick Saban, little bumpier than they thought. You know, like Tennessee, LSU, kind of starting to cancel each other out at times, or like trading losses here. Georgia loses to Alabama but beats Texas, so it's like we know there's good teams in that conference, but like
Vanderbilt is ranked. Woo!
I'm getting
Vanderbilt is ranked.
I'm getting
But,
drunk as you saying this shit, bro.
How good is the SEC? Like I don't know the answer to that question yet, because Georgia's losses to I'm going to say it, a average Alabama team, like, or at least defensively they're bad. I don't want to take anything away from their offense, but defensively they're bad. Texas I thought was great. They lose to that Georgia team. Bama loses two games that they probably shouldn't have. Ole Miss, the bottom has fallen out of. Missouri's had a loss. Tennessee loses to Arkansas. But if you look at the teams that they've beaten, like the resumes for a lot of the SEC teams aren't that strong comparatively either. So it's like I'm not ready to say they're not the best conference, but they're not by and large. Oh my God, the SEC is unstoppable.
Is it possible the bottom of the SEC though has gotten better at the bottom of the barrel?
No, that's the wrong angle.
No.
Here's what we need to answer, honestly. And here's what I need to hear. How is this different than other SEC years? Okay. There's always been that kind of muddle at the top. All right. And then it eventually cancels itself out, right? Kentucky has a big year and they make it into the Citrus Bowl eventually, but I don't know. Were they fretting for the SEC? And then they eventually later in the year and sputter off. What, Mike?
I'll let you finish then, because I have a take on what you're saying is different from this SEC.
I'm getting there. I'm sure.
But
give me a chance to land the plane. I promise some things will be addressed. For one, the power vacuum that is Nick Saban retiring matters, obviously. No disrespect to Kalen DeBoer, but we live in a world also where the previous Alabama coach in his first year lost to Louisiana Monroe. Let's always remember that, okay? B, Texas being back and then doing it just in time to enter the SEC, holy shit, okay? But there's always elements of those SEC teams. Will they break the ceiling? And then by the end, it ends up being Alabama and Georgia again, right? Well, there's no Alabama this year, confidently to say that. And we also don't just have a 14 playoff. Sure. I hear where you're going with, gosh, what do we know about the SEC? How are we going to crowbar them in? Meanwhile, we live in a world with fucking Indiana in the top 25 who's beaten your mom's state. Why are we asking that question? And don't get me started on this damn opening thing. Every time the guy says ding, motherfucking dong, I hear quack, motherfucking quack, even though Dylan Gabriel is a fraud. Okay. So I think localizing it to the SEC is just another huge bit of hater bias on your part. Can I please get the same energy for the Big Ten as well? Moreover, again, with the SEC, I feel like we've seen this before. And by the end of the year, when we start getting committees coming in, when teams start falling off, as you mentioned, will come. Who ends up playing usually in the title game? Still the same players, typically, right?
Mike, I'll let you get your point in, but like for me, the thing that's different is like in years past, it was like, okay, Alabama and Georgia are almost completely unstoppable. Okay, like these teams are the absolute juggernauts. Nobody can beat them. Like if you manage to, it's purely on the sake of luck, or like, they'll beat each other in the, the first week of the college football playoff. And then, somebody's going to get blown away the next week. Like I personally don't see that. I don't see that out of Georgia. I don't see that out of Texas now. Like again,
but you did go into that game. Let's be fair.
What's that?
You did going into that game, right? And
I thought Texas was by and large the best team in college football. Absolutely.
And I think that's Georgia's fault too. I'm sure we'll get into more of that later. But what I'm getting to is it felt that same way last year for the SEC, did it not? And then, whoops, the conference championship game happened, and suddenly Georgia's sixth, right?
Well, Kirby Smart apparently has an Alabama problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the issue last year, because if Georgia gets in, they're at least getting a national title game.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. We've acknowledged the difference then. And you say an Alabama problem, maybe this year because, that game went the way it did. You say problem. I also say he exposed Alabama for the rest of the nation to go to work. Let's be fair, right? But maybe they had a Nick Saban problem, Jim.
Maybe. I don't. After this weekend with what Georgia did to Texas and what's happened to Georgia by a bad Bama team or a lesser than Bama team, like I don't see the SEC as being that like runaway juggernaut that they have in the past.
And last thing, and Mikey B, I've been very rude in not handing you the ball, but I'll let you go after this. We have two people talking about conferences being WTF right after Matt said, hey, they're White Claw sorority girl drunk. Of course there's going to be nutty conference stuff going on. Hello? Like, how are those things not tied in? What am I missing? Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
When I have 3 things prepared for what did we learn and 2 of them get horked, I have to go to the third one. So that's part of it as well.
Well, shit.
Mikey B.
All right. You want to know what the big difference is in this year's SEC compared to last couple years of SEC teams? Defense. They're not having to play as much defense because they're scoring points at a ridiculous clip in conference games.
That's a point.
This is not your dad's SEC because you do not have guys that are running for 4,500 yards because you have quarterbacks that are throwing for 5,000. It's a different flavor of Alabama because Caleb DeBoer has never been a defensive-minded coach. He was always an offensive-minded coach. Now this Alabama team is doing exactly that, scoring a lot.
I feel bad I bring this up. I'm the one that made the joke about 75 total points in an SEC game being illegal in some states. Yeah, I should have thought of this. Good point, Mike.
So you add a couple of high-powered offenses out of the Big 12, and as bad as Oklahoma has been this year, and that's a whole other conversation for a whole other
not touching it
part of this podcast. They score. They still put points up. They didn't against Texas, but they still score a shit ton of points.
Something, Texas, 12, death taxes, blah, blah.
Correct. So I'm looking right now, and in conference games alone, Texas A&M has scored 130 points. They're 4-0. Georgia 149 in 5 games. They're 4-1.
In the conference.
In conference games.
Yeah, because we know Texas A&M, even though I'm a Notre Dame hater, was a difference in a spread that I openly laughed at right next to every Irish fan on this panel. But continue.
South Carolina and Florida both have over 125 points scored, and those teams are 2-2 and 2-3. You're getting bad SEC teams that are putting up points. So the days of Alabama
3 against UCF. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm just saying the days of beating the bottom of the barrel, the day of Alabama versus Auburn being 48-3 is not there anymore. It's now 56-22. Like sure. Auburn is still putting points up. And I think we're so ingrained, us being the media, that the SEC is going to be the best defensive conference in football. They're going to just smash people in the face. They're going to play these other conferences and they're going to beat those teams 35-3, and those offenses aren't going to have a shot at scoring. That's not college football anymore. College football is run and gun. It's putting points up, and it's putting points up in a hurry. And I think that's something that this is like the Big 12 on a bigger scale. This is like we're just putting points up left and right, and it doesn't give you the same vibe of what the SEC is. I'm looking right now. There are 7 teams. Sorry, the top 8 in the record are all in the top 25, and you have Ole Miss at 18, who's 1-2 in the conference. Mm-hmm. The fact that you got 9 teams ranked in the top 25, the top 8 of them in the standings, and then obviously Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has scored the least amount of points, with the exception of Missouri, out of those 9 teams.
Right.
This isn't your dad's SEC anymore.
Well, and first of all, this is a great point you're making. I'm not sure that that's a long-term trend either, though.
Probably not.
So here's what's even scarier. What if these potent offenses remain and these teams develop the defense, and that's the part of the squads that are in the middle of the rebuilding, and then now what we've created is an SEC that's more complete and they're stronger than they've ever been? Then what?
Houston, we have a problem.
No, we have quality football, and you can't handle it.
I mean, depends what part of the country you're from, if you have a problem or not.
Hey, listen.
Well, and to Mike's point,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say to Mike's point. I was gonna kind of make a point about that the difference of the SEC just feels like kind of that middle tier is kind of meshing with the top tier. But when you have teams not playing defense, that's going to happen. When you're just points after points and back and forth, all of a sudden a turnover here or a bad call there can cause these upsets to happen more. You end up with a little more parity because there's no one taking control of the defensive side of the football and making up for any mistakes that they're making.
Greater margin of error. Good point.
Right. So I think you're going to have this scenario unless that defensive shift that Kyle's talking about happens. You're going to see a little bit more of like, well, it does open the door for that second or third best team to maybe be the best this year. Because they just got a bounce at the right time or they didn't make as many mistakes. So I think that's an interesting add-on to the sudden change in defensive prowess.
Well, and a point that EJ regularly makes too about the time of year as well, when the weather gets
Is
warm.
it that Lamar Jackson's a quarterback?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, college-wise, as the year goes on, defenses do get stronger. It's weather. It's defenses also tend to get injured faster. They're starting to come back too later in the year after they've had some time because playing physical, you get hurt. So I think there's an element of the offense that remains sustainable, whereas the defense, you'll see some rotation, and then when they get healthy again, maybe you'll see another trend upward in defense. There's just so much. This year is so strange and so white claw sorority girl drunk that it's really hard to find trends in here. But to Mike's point, the high scoring we're currently seeing in the games we have seen in the earlier part of the year is worth mention. And by the way, as a side note, offenses are starting to click too at this point because college doesn't have preseason.
I will also say, looking at just all of the teams out of conference, like when you put the conference games and the out of conference games together, there's one SEC team, one, that has a negative point differential.
That's crazy.
The SEC is scoring in bunches.
That's nutty. And apparently stopping teams outside of the SEC from doing it. Maybe familiarity is an issue here, guys. Maybe that's what Mikey B reveals with that point is on the table now. Maybe some of these coaches just know each other, or they're getting shocked playing a Kalen DeBoer, who is an offensive guy. They're getting shocked by Josh Heupel, who's an Oregon offense guy, for Christ's sake. That's not something that's supposed to do well in the SEC. Well, we're here now, right?
Well, and I think too, and not just to the SEC, but I think in some of the weird and crazy anomalies that we're seeing in college football this year over the first like 4 to 6 weeks is the transfer portal. Like the number of players that are moving and trying to get settled in to a team. And like, yeah, spring practice is cool and fall practice is cool, but you're not really getting a feel for the game until you actually get into the game itself. That it's going to take 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes to kind of catch up to speed. So you're going to get maybe some of these weird, these weird results that you don't see coming earlier in the season. As we get into October towards November, the norm starts to come out and starts to balance back out. So we'll kind of watch that as these remaining 6 weeks of the college football season that's in front of us. How that looks compared to the 8 weeks that's behind us. So.
But it's fascinating to observe. Like I may not necessarily agree with the SEC being air quotes weaker than it's ever been or any of that. It's certainly different. All day, bro.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the college football playoff, and what we are looking at in terms of the potential field and what it would look like. Again, this is from Nick Bromberg of Yahoo Sports, using the AP Top 25 as the framework for where we would be in the college football playoff, the 12-team playoff, if it started today. So the field, as it's presented, number 1, Oregon, projected Big Ten champion. Georgia 6-1 would be the projected SEC champion as of this week. Miami 7-0, projected ACC champion, and Iowa State 7-0 is the projected Big 12 champion after the games ended this past weekend. Your first round matchups would be Mountain West champion Boise State traveling to Penn State, who would be number 5 in the rankings this week. Number 11, BYU would be traveling to number 6, Ohio State. Number 10, Clemson would travel to number 7, Texas. And number 9, LSU would travel to number 8, Tennessee. So I kind of want to do this a little bit different than we did last week. And I want to see, and this may be my dangerous brain working against me, but we're going to give it a shot. See if we can come to an agreement on how this would play out as a field. So let's start.
Push EJ off the screen then.
I think he has a press conference to attend.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's start with the number 12 versus number 5. So let's go to Penn State. Number 12, Boise State travels to Penn State. So what I'll do is I'll go down the field. We'll see we'll see if we can get a majority rule and go from there. So Mikey B, who would you have? Boise State, Penn State?
Well, this was the exact same matchup last week. I'm not changing my mind. The Boise State only loss is to Oregon. Ashton Genty pounds the ground in Happy Valley and takes Boise State to the second round.
Very good. EJ.
Yeah, I think I had Penn State last week. I believe in this one, so I'll stick with it.
Well, you didn't even have Penn State as one of your top 5 teams personally in the Earnestly Speaking podcast. So there's that.
Because the result.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash.
Fifth bump with my dude Mikey B above me. Boise State takes this one because Oregon State looked like total butt playing against them and barely beating them. So I digress. Shante for second, or Shante for New York, candidate behind Travis Hunter.
There we go. Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to ride that train. I think the running attack's too strong, and I think it controls the clock. And I'm not sure the Nittany Lions get out of that one alive. I take Boise.
Take a note, Eagles Jaworski. That's how Eagles fan responds to Boise State.
Matt,
cool story.
Who do you got in this one, Matt?
Yeah, Penn State doesn't have the offense to keep up with Boise State. Give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's almost a clean sweep for Boise
Suck
State.
it, Jaworski.
I feel attacked here, man.
You are. And you should feel that.
Say if there's a tie at any point.
You just stand there in your wrongness and be wrong.
Can I change a pick then?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Motion that in the event.
Motion denied.
In the event of a tie, we just eliminate EJ's pick.
Yeah.
That's the motion.
Naturally. All right, let's go to the number 11, number 6. We got BYU traveling to the Horseshoe in Ohio State. Mikey B.
The Ohio State University.
All right. EJ.
Unfortunately, the Buckeyes.
All right. Kyle.
Ohio State. Eventually, BYU will be getting the vibe, but I digress.
Sean.
Yeah, no, they're not winning in the shoe. That's Ohio State.
Matt.
Much as I would love to pick BYU, it's Ohio State.
You would.
We'd love to all see it, Cougar fans. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely would too. And I just feel like struggling to put away Oklahoma State at home is different than beating Ohio State in the Horseshoe. That's a problem. All right, next one. Number 7, Texas hosting number 10, Clemson. Mike.
You think I'm taking Dabo?
Is anybody on this panel going to take Dabo?
Raise your hand if you're picking Clemson.
Okay, it's against my religion. I can't do it.
All right. Wait, I think I have an easy button. Hold on. There it is.
That was easy.
May I also please get a Maui for
Texas. Texas moves on.
What can I say except you're welcome?
And then the last one here, number 8, Tennessee versus number 9,
Family.
LSU. Mikey B.
Honestly, I think this is the best of the first round games.
Yes.
Both of these teams have been effective on offense. Give me big game Brian to find a way to defeat Josh Heupel here. And I think it's more because it's going to sound really weird to say this out I think I trust Brian Kelly more than I do Josh Heupel.
And rightly so, honestly.
Family.
Doubt it.
EJ.
No, I'll go LSU too. I'll go
All
LSU
right.
as well.
Kyle?
As odd as I feel like this is going to be to say for me here, I don't know what it is about this locker room versus what I heard at UCF, but somehow Tennessee seems to love Heupel. And just like it came up to beat his alma mater when they did battle earlier in the year, LSU served Josh Heupel if he has to bowl loss. All these players have to do is find out about that. There'll be a little extra hype in there for coach. I think this is enough to give him an edge. Whereas
a little extra Heupel.
I see what you did there.
Ooh, that was
I'm
good.
disappointed as somebody who's made this joke writing for the Black and Gold Banneret. Well, no, at the time it was Blue HQ. They don't exist, so I won't give them a bell. But I'm sure I also made that at some point doing UCF for the 3-point conversion. So I'm disappointed I didn't do it for myself. And Jim, you saved the day for me. Thank you for that. But the punchline is, yes, there will be plenty of Heupel on that way in that game. They'll also be hosting it. Whereas I feel like in that game, Brian Kelly will have more, what's his word, butterflies. I feel like he has more pressure just because of the way LSU season started, just because of the reputation he's gotten from scorned Notre Dame fans that claim they don't hate him but continue to hate him every week.
You flatter me.
No, but listen, I joked, Jim, but yeah, I really think some Heupel, most players love that dude. It's weird. So yeah, for that reason alone, I got Josh Heupel in the balls.
All right, Sean.
First of all, props to Jim for Kyle Nash with the Heupel quote. That was well played. That was brilliant. Yeah, I'm going to make this real interesting.
You're welcome.
Nice. I'm going to make this interesting. I'm gonna roll with Nash. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. I give me old Rocky Top. I like Tennessee in this matchup, and I hate Big Game Brian.
So I've guaranteed at least a split here because I know what Jim's going to pick. Matt,
Matt, what do you got?
This isn't the Citrus Bowl. It's not the ReliaQuest Bowl. This is a college playoff game where the lights are the brightest. Kirk Coupon shies away from the moments. So does Big Game Brian. Give me Tennessee.
Sir, those Citrus Bowl games were fun to cover with him, you hater.
I'm sure they were great.
Coupons won in primetime this year.
Well, I'm sure. Well, Brian Kelly will have a chance this week. More on that later. Actually, no, that game isn't in. Oh, this game in primetime. My bad, Mike. Look, no, if this game was in LSU, I would go, as shocking as it would be to Kyle, with Brian Kelly. But I think the difference in this one, because I think these two teams are very similar.
Yes.
Both of them have what has turned out to be not a good loss. The loss to USC didn't look bad week one, looks real bad now. The loss to Arkansas, not good. Both teams have had other close calls within their conference as well to teams that are lesser than. But they're both a one-loss team at this point. But I think the pressure going on the road, like I said, if it's in LSU, I'd go LSU. But for this one, I will go Tennessee. So Tennessee advances. Shut up, BJ. All right. So now we have. Let's go to the. We'll stay on this side of the bracket. We'll go number 1, Oregon, taking on those Volunteers of Tennessee. In this case, in the Rose Bowl, Mikey B.
Quack, quack, motherfuckers.
EJ.
I had LSU, right? So, oh my God.
That's not the game here, bud.
They didn't make
Tennessee
we
versus
them out.
Oregon.
Oh.
Tribe has spoken.
They lost.
Didn't we, Kyle? Did we discuss in the podcast earlier today about what scenarios?
LSU got Brian Kelly, so
You
it's
did
Oregon
say-
versus Tennessee.
You actually shoved a fence post so far up your ass when I asked you this that we never got an answer.
You said that. So if Oregon and Tennessee would meet in the playoff, who would meet in the game? Who you favor?
I said I asked you who you would pick Or no, what you
The
gave
spread
me a
was. The spread was it's -1. Oregon -1 in
a game in Knoxville. Yes.
in Knoxville,
It's
right?
exactly not what we're looking at. It's going to be in UT.
I was going to say, it's actually in LA at the Rose Bowl.
I'll say this is now this second round is now
It's
in the
Rose
Rose
Bowl, right?
Excuse me, I beg your pardon.
In any case, in this spot, I will give Oregon advantage. Give me Oregon.
He not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash.
He damn sure stumbled because he proves he doesn't know a damn thing about college football. If you trust Dylan Gabriel in a big game against his former coach to win, you haven't paid any attention. As it stood, Ohio State, they barely escaped at home. The fraud is revealed once again to America. He loses to his former coach. Tennessee advances.
All right, John.
Quack, 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 quack.
Why do you keep shouting
Harnessing
that
the
wrong?
spirit of Joey Harrington,
Oh,
the Oregon Ducks prevail.
Yeah,
I love it. What was that? College NCAA 03, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Cover athlete
so.
with like the diamond plate uniforms.
He was an 05 draft, I think.
Matt.
Diamond plate.
I believe I had Oregon going pretty far in my preseason predictions, so I got to stick with it.
You don't have to stick with it. You can
whether or not
that.
Kyle is right about Dylan Gabriel. I will like Dan Lanning on the West Coast over the Tennessee Volunteers. I think that Ohio State is at least slightly better than Tennessee. So I'll take Oregon's chances. I like Oregon here. I'm the alleged homer on them anyway, right, EJ?
No, I am.
Allegedly.
Oh no, he labeled us both as that.
No, you both are really, but I would say Mike is
fine.
definitely one. You're 1B. There you go.
Listen,
That's fine. I'll be number one. That's fine.
Mikey B's going to use a duck feather to get the fence post out of you.
No, I was going to say, because I don't have a fence post stuck up my ass. I have flat out told you.
I already see Mike's
Mike is webbed toes down.
Yeah.
For the Oregon.
Four web toes down.
You already know Mike's Halloween costume is next week. His Halloween costume is going to be Oregon.
All right, bottom half of this bracket Fiesta Bowl, we have Boise State versus Iowa State. Mikey B.
If you think watching an entire Iowa State game made me think that they were actually going to be good enough to beat Boise State, you've lost your mind. Give me the muscle and the power of the offensive line.
I appreciate the thought, but you've got the story wrong.
All right, Jim, whatever.
Go Broncos.
All right, EJ.
First off, you're fucking wrong. Penn State beats Iowa State, but whatever. That's another argument one other day. Give me Boise here.
Penn State doesn't play Iowa State.
I understand that.
Sit there in your wrongness and be
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah, go ahead, give it to him, Jim. Go ahead.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Give me Boise and Genty.
All right. So to you, Penn State better than Iowa State?
Yeah.
Okay. Student of the game, Kyle Nash.
A fist bump to my Bronco brother up top. They advance.
Go.
All right.
Let's go.
Sean.
Don't raise your fist like that again. I get scared.
The fuck?
But your take is right. Boise State.
All right, very good, Matt.
Well, I think Penn State beats Iowa State.
Did
That's
you go
a
to
good take? Very original.
Well,
I hate you, Matt. I hate you, Matt.
That's the joke.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it should commend EJ for finally like saying something like with conviction, like finally saying.
I always do. We talk
not
about.
putting,
No,
like,
you do not.
I always do.
and
I
maybe
always
and-
do. Always do.
I was gonna try to even like say what the conversation of Tennessee versus Oregon probably was on your show. Well, if the weather's fine and there's not a 10-degree difference and the gusts of wind aren't going 4 miles an hour to the west, then maybe possibly potentially Oregon gets the win. Maybe.
And then
That's
after
like
that, he
Minden.
shouts, "Is that a splinter?"
Yeah, I have Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl as well. Let's finish out this side of the bracket. We got Oregon taking on Boise State in the college football playoff semifinal. Mikey B.
I'll say this. I feel like if the right side of this bracket is what we've gone over, I think the thing you're going to hear on a lot of major medias is the fact that Oregon basically has a free run to the national title game. because I while I love Ashton Genty and I think he should be a Heisman finalist, and with the injury to Homer and Travis Hunter, he might be the favorite going into this week right now. Eventually, the offense is going to run out of gas, and they're going to not be able to keep up with someone who can score at the clip that Oregon can score. But it really feels that if this is the actual bracket, I don't know that anybody on the right side could beat Oregon, with the exception of whomever wins the Tennessee LSU game.
Yeah, and like that's where seeding really matters. And unfortunately, again, we've talked about one of the frustrations with the college football playoff is they don't reseed the bracket. So when it's presented to us, that's how it's going to play out. So if you catch the right combination of teams, you may have an easy path to the semifinal. You may have an easy path to the championship game. And then
Franklin fired, like in this scenario.
Oh, no, don't do that. I love having Coach Franklin at Penn State.
Max, don't care about your feelings, Jim.
EJ, Oregon, Boise State.
Yeah, okay, roll Oregon.
All right, Kyle.
Tennessee. Sorry.
I knew that was coming.
Oregon, so I guess by default. It'll be sad, but the fraud would fraudulently be handled an easy road, assuming he actually had the mental fortitude for once to beat his former coach.
You'll be okay.
Can you show me on the doll back here where feeling great?
Where do you touch you, buddy?
I am more than happy to explain that off air, Jim. Actually, yes.
Yeah, okay. I know why. He'll explain later.
Sean.
Well, if a shark fought a sea crocodile, I think the crocodile would win. But in this case, it's Oregon.
I'm just going to say Boise State to be the lone dissenter, but it's Oregon.
Good for you.
Good. All right. Yeah, it is Oregon. All right. Let's
go sitting there, buddy.
Let's.
I mean, that is a rematch of a really good game that has already happened.
That's
this
true.
Season.
I think Lanning takes the information gained and comes up with a specific game plan. And
I would agree with that assessment, but I'm saying that is a rematch of a very good early season game between these two teams that finished. I'm looking it up right now. I think it was like a 3-point game. I think they literally
37-34 or something.
Yep. Yeah, 37. Yeah. Gabriel in that game was 18 of 21 with 2 tutties.
All right, let's go to the left side of the bracket. We have Georgia coming off their bye, taking on Texas, a rematch of what we just saw. Mikey B.
Oh boy, this one should be interesting. Hopefully the Texas Longhorn coaching staff watches all of this film and digests every piece of it that went wrong, including starting Quinn Ewers, benching Quinn Ewers, and then going back to Quinn Ewers. That was a confusing process. Kind of like trying to sign up for car insurance. That's why I have Geico.
We are not getting paid by them. Don't do that.
I mean, I'm just saying who I have as my car insurance provider.
That's the joke.
Anyway. Oh, you're right. My bad. Sorry, I pulled an Ernest there. That's on me. I don't even know who the fuck I want to take in this game.
You don't have to want one. Just who do you think's better?
Ty? I think they're both great teams. I mean,
you know who wins this game, Mike?
America.
Okay.
Actually, you know who should win this game? Army or Navy, because the fact that you should put them in your top, your top 12. Shame on you, America.
Pandy.
They may get there by the time
they might.
All right, I've stalled this out enough to try to figure out who the hell I'm taking. I pulled a Kyle Nash there. I will take Georgia.
All right.
Definitely a Kyle Nash.
EJ.
I'm going Bulldogs again.
All right, Kyle.
Let's see. The Bulldogs won the first round. I'm taking Texas to win the second round because it always seems to be how these things work. There's no football reason for it. I'm happy to be wrong with it because, oh no, Kirby Smart in the finals. So yeah, I'm going to take Texas this time though.
All right, Sean.
The Dogs, Georgia. Yep.
All right, Matt.
Hook 'em horns.
I don't like it, but you give, Kirby Smart beat them on 1 week's prep. I'll take Georgia on, a week of rest and just licking their chops, assuming
that was my big thought as well. Was
Yeah,
that sitting
yeah.
around watching them beat each other around. In the
We've
round.
seen what
Yeah.
the Kirby Smarts of the world can do when they have weeks to prepare.
Get that
for a
rest
team.
and kill them.
So I'll take Georgia there. All right, in the bottom half of the bracket, we have Ohio State in the Peach Bowl taking on the U. Mikey B.
Mobile quarterbacks have seemed to give The Ohio State University fits, a guy who's probably going to be on the podium in New York as a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, fits that bill very well.
Mhm.
Give me the U. Give me Cam Ward and the Canes to advance to the semis.
All right, huge Miami fan, Ernest CJ Christian. Who do you got?
I hate you, Jim. All right. I hate both these teams, too, on top of that. But if I'm going to pick a team, I'm going to pick Ohio
Oh,
State.
heat, bitch.
I look, I don't think Miami's even the 6th best team in college football right now, I'll be honest with you. But that's just my opinion. Give me Ohio State.
You thought they were the 4th best on the Earnestly Speaking
No, I
podcast?
did not. Whoa. I did not say that. I had Texas number 4.
Oh, yeah, you forgot about Texas. They're 5th, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tennessee's 5th.
Kyle.
You mean ACC fan, Kyle? Yeah, I got Ohio State.
Sean.
Yeah, everything I said about that extra week's prep doesn't apply to this game for me. I think Ohio State takes that steam they got moving the week before and just keeps rolling. I got Ohio
he
State.
pushed the ball? Really?
Yeah.
I have faith on him screwing it up. No.
I think the week off might hurt Miami in this scenario. I don't know why.
I agree with that 100%. I agree
just
with you
think
on that.
I think that they come out just a step slow and Ohio State just rolls.
Matt.
The U is back. Give me Miami.
Shut up,
Gross. I also refuse to pick Miami at any point.
Come with you, Matt. Come on.
They needed help to beat Virginia Tech. They
Thank
needed
you.
help to beat Cal. Yeah, your luck's going to run out. Not that I don't think Ohio State is that great, but they are great enough to beat the U. The Buckeyes advance. So they move on to meet Georgia in the semifinals. Mikey B, Dogs or Buckeyes?
If you thought that a mobile quarterback was going to beat this spray-painted haired bitch like I took the U, you're out of your mind if you don't think I'm taking Georgia here, because at the end of the day, I don't think that this Ohio State team is the 4th best team in the country.
All right. EJ.
Easy. Bulldogs. Easy.
All right. Kyle.
Balls. Wait, no. No.
Wrong side bracket, bitch.
That's
Midshipman.
Commodores. No,
He's my
Georgia.
Southern born.
Kyle, do you have the Dogs?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Sean.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Penn State.
Mormons.
I will beat that joke to death, like I've beaten every other EJ joke to death.
EJ Jaworski.
This is the Dogs. This should be unanimous in my opinion.
Matt.
Yeah, it's the Dogs.
Yeah, I have the Dogs as well, which brings us to our college football playoff national championship.
How exciting!
Georgia from the left side, Oregon from the right.
Get
Mikey
the-
B, do I even have to ask?
It spells go. How exciting!
Quack.
Go ahead.
Quack.
Homer.
Piss off Kyle now.
Homer.
Fuckers.
Homer.
Piss
Homer.
off Kyle now.
Homer.
No, see, here's the thing. I don't piss Kyle off because Kyle understands that I at least have like some statistical thought process behind where I'm coming from. Where you, on the other hand, just say 5 names and you go, they're number 1, they're number 2. And when you ask you why, it's because Lamar Jackson's a quarterback, not a running back or something.
The
I
optics.
do because of feelings.
The
Optics and
optics.
feelings, baby. That's right. Optics and feelings. All I care about.
There are feelings in sports.
Yeah, you're right. There are feelings, and facts don't care about your feelings. Go Ducks.
There are also facts.
EJ.
Oh, Rangers won tonight. There you go. Good job.
You don't give a shit.
I do. They just won again. On the roll. Give me Bulldogs. Rough.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Rough.
All right. Kyle.
You already know his answer.
I do, but to be fair, I will ask the question as I did. I knew what Mikey was going to say, and I knew what you were going to say, EJ.
Assuming that Dylan Gabriel has won the previous 2 big games, you expect me to pick him to win a third.
Fuck out of here.
Stop it.
Sorry.
EJ's big mad about something. Sean.
I don't care if
Matt,
it's
I'll text you.
I don't care if it's Dylan Gabriel. I don't care if it's Peter Gabriel. The real sledgehammer is coming in the form of the Georgia Bulldogs.
The real sledgehammer. Let's go.
Okay, that was good.
All of the stupid little jokes I made led up to that
was
exact
good.
finish.
That was good. That was good.
Gotcha.
Well done. Well done. I'm proud of that one. Matt.
I'm going to go with Oregon in this one.
Ooh. All right. Well, I have Oregon as well, and by the rules set by evil twin Sean, we have to eliminate EJ's pick.
Natty baby.
That makes Oregon our
it seemed
national
the most
champion.
fair.
Yeah. So
to everyone else.
Makes sense.
There we go.
Yeah, it makes sense that a fraud should be rewarded for his bullshit.
Congratulations to the Oregon Ducks on your Huddle Up Podcast national championship.
Wrong.
I was surprised.
No, EJ, we just did the math on it. It's
It's 3-3. We eliminate you.
Check your text, Matt. You see this shit?
So you know, but you did your best, EJ. You tried, but
what are they fucking doing? What are they fucking doing?
Like when you tried, you failed. All right, let's go to
never try.
Let's go to this week in the world of college football. We are in week number 9, and we will start on Saturday at noon on ABC from MetLife Stadium. Number 12 Notre Dame 6-1. They are a 12.5-point favorite against number 24 Navy, who is 6-0. Your over/under on this one is 52. Matt, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm going to pick Notre Dame. I'm really just hopeful that there's no more injuries to the team playing in that shithole stadium. But give me Notre Dame. I'll take the over, though. Even though I love Notre Dame's defense, Navy's just been on a tear offensively this year.
All
Read
right.
that out loud and see if it is less awkward the second time.
It really is. It really is. It's weird to say.
It's weird. It feels weird.
They decided this year that they were like, hey, maybe we should throw this football instead of just running it every time.
They did change coaches recently, Matt. That is a thing.
Knute Rockne invented this forward pass thing. Let's give it a try.
Someone's like, hey, did you watch this Pat Mahomes? He throws the football.
It's like he puts the ball in the air. Sean, Notre Dame, Navy.
Yeah, give me the Irish here, and I'm actually going to go with Matt for a slightly different reason. I think Notre Dame is going to learn from their lessons of the past. They're not going to try to play Navy's game. I think you force a 3-and-out or 2 early, and you attack through the air to try to pull away, and I think that forces the game to move faster than Navy wants, and we break that 52.
So they wouldn't play with their food like some amongst us might stupidly say.
Yeah, okay. That's a really dumb way to say it. But yeah.
Like so mean. Damn.
Sean, he thinks said that.
I have a guess.
Student of the game, Kyle Nett.
With an opportunity to avenge themselves against the G5, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish get their marquee win finally on their schedule.
Wow, that's a shot at both.
Man.
Us, Northern Illinois, and Texas A&M. That's a triple-headed burden.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Did you take the over or the under?
Oh, excuse me. Gosh, Navy's throwing the ball.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Over. Slight. Ooh.
My favorite part the other week, one of the clips I put up on the TikTok, when somebody said the slight, EJ and Kyle did the hand motion in unison.
I did notice.
It was insane. All right, EJ, Notre Dame, Navy.
You know, unlike you woke fucking patrons on this panel, I'm gonna go ahead and take Jim. Calm down. Navy on the point. Notre Dame wins, but give me Navy on the points here.
All right.
Well, you anti-Americans here, and give me the under.
I want the record to show
You need the under for that to happen.
Yeah.
I did not pick against Navy, Jim.
The record has it.
I said I did say Notre Dame won the game, but I'm taking the points on Navy.
You know, as the one
You just
who
take Navy outright, so I feel better about it.
the one who allegedly bashes the Irish all the time.
Facts, but
Didn't he just bash the Irish?
did.
Hey, I said they're about to get their marquee win. What's up?
Yeah. They're ranked
backhand bash this,
It's
and then you're
okay.
like, I don't bash you.
Sean, they're ranked. 24 or 23? Which one of this?
3 at this point, right?
Yeah.
I didn't hit you.
No,
I pushed you down the stairs. Like, what are you
Army
doing
is higher.
right now?
Okay.
Mikey B.
Ernest, take Notre Dame so I can be the only one that takes Navy. Because I don't want to pick the same thing that you do. So I
get over it, buddy.
Words, I agree.
Get over your feelings, buddy.
No, wrong. Pass. I will never say I agree with Ernest. I am taking Notre Dame minus the points now because I can't fucking stand to have the same pick as Ernest. I will take the over because I'm not going to take anything that Ernest took. So,
Jim, that would have been a second person to take Navy, who's not me.
Jim.
Correct.
I would, but I also would have made the caveat that I think Notre Dame wins by 10.
EJ, Joe's with you. Looks like Joe's with you there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joe says he's got the Irish, but they don't.
Well, I have the under, Joe. Don't you think?
The over. Devin is back. I didn't know.
How's NXT, Devin?
You don't care.
That's true.
Check in, and he has Notre Dame as well. Yeah, I'm kind of
Might
with
as well
Sean
be a
here.
Rangers game. Yeah.
I'm kind of with Sean here. I think lessons of the past, and skeletons in the closet, and all of those things are going to get removed this week. And I think Notre Dame's going to learn from their mistakes, and they are going to capitalize when they have the ball. And I think they're going to win. I'm going to take them to cover the 12.5, and I will go with an over as well.
G5 vengeance.
That's right, baby. All right, now then we move to 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. It is number 20 Illinois. They are 6-1. They travel to number 1 Oregon, who is of course 7-0. A 21.5 point home favorite. You're over under on this one, 54.5. Matt.
I mean, aside from Purdue, who everyone blows out, Oregon's not really blowing teams out. So I'll take Illinois with the points, and I will take the over.
All right, Sean.
Man, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to roll with Matt again. I'm going to go with Illinois to cover. I think that's a ton of points, and I think it's a little bit of a shootout with Illinois trailing just behind, just trying to keep up. It goes over as well.
All right, Kyle.
No honor among thieves. It takes a fraud to reveal another. Oregon exposes Illinois. They cover. They win. Take the over. Excuse me, the under. There's no way Illinois scores enough points. Beg your pardon.
All right, very good. EJ?
Give me the Ducks. Give me the over.
All right. Mikey B.
God, I hate Ernest because now I
Oh, get over. Let's fucking get over it. Jesus Christ.
I will never get over it.
Jesus.
Hey, listen, let the blind squirrel find the nut. He's hungry.
Fool me once. Shame on you.
Oregon hits the over by themselves.
Nice.
That's a good point.
So who are you picking to win the game? No, just
Death taxes in the Ducks.
Yeah. Look, Illinois only scored 7 against Penn State. They scored 21. They only beat Michigan by 14. Oregon is absolutely winning, covering the 21.5. And you know what? I'll go with Mike. They're going to get the over by themselves. Quack, quack, motherfucker, all day. All right, next one. We go 3:30 Eastern time over on ABC. It is number 21 Missouri. They are 6-1 at number 15 Alabama, who is 5-2. A 13.5 point home favorite. Your over under on this one is 56. Matt.
Sorry. I will take Missouri plus the points, and I will take the under on this one.
All right, Sean.
Muted, bro. Sean, muted.
Sorry, we went the other way. We finally split up, Matt. After everything I've said to make fun of Alabama in the last week, roll Tide. I think they come back storming.
Alabama!
Do I think they're as good as Alabama in the past? No. Do I think they're that much better than Missouri? Yes. I'm going to take them to roll, to cover, and to push this thing over.
All right, let's do the game.
I think Mizzou does enough to take advantage of the Kalen DeBoer defense. And like we've come to see as the axiom in a Kalen DeBoer defense with Alabama, death taxes in the over. No, I can't even make it a joke. That just feels awkward. Give me the over in the SEC matchup, but I will take Los Tigres to cover.
All right, very good. EJ.
Alabama wins, but I'll take Missouri on the points and the under.
Alabama.
Mikey B.
I warned
you. She said the under, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll be the guy. Missouri outright.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost said that, buddy, for what it's
And
worth.
Hot seat Kalen DeBoer,
which isn't much.
No, it's not hot seat
No,
Caleb
stop
DeBoer.
it.
It's first
Stop
year
it.
being
Stop
the head
it.
coach in Alabama, Caleb DeBoer's. Let's be very transparent.
This is what I live for. The mass reaction.
Missouri wins outright and pretty much eliminates any shot of Alabama making the top 12, barring some kind of crazy thing that occurs.
Oh yeah, it would.
And I will take the over.
Kyle, what'd you say?
I can't rule that out. I like I said, I almost went there. I wouldn't brave it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game comes down to a field goal. Missouri definitely covers 13.5. I think it's crazy that number's that big. I think Alabama will likely win. I certainly would not be shocked if Missouri pulls off the win. I will take the over though, just because of if Missouri's going to do it, they're going to have to take advantage of that defense.
So you took Missouri plus the points?
Yeah, Missouri and the over. All right, next one, 4:15 Eastern time on the SEC network. It is number 5 Texas. They are 6-1, a 19-point road favorite. Disrespectful. Have some freaking respect for those number 25 Vanderbilt Commodores, who are 5-2. Your over/under on this one is 53.5. Matt.
Give me Texas. I'll take Texas with the alternate spread of -25. I will take the over.
Jesus, man.
Wow. Rude.
Disrespect is real, ladies and gentlemen.
Sean.
Yeah, no, I'm back with you, Matt. I give me Texas. Give me Texas to roll. And I too will take the over. Going to be at least a Commodore 64 points. At least a Commodore 64. I had to take the over because otherwise that joke doesn't work.
There's some people that will understand that joke.
None of the students on this feed are going to know what
They're
that
going,
meant.
what?
This
What is he
student
talking
does.
They're all Googling what is Commodore 64. Student
It
of
was
the game.
either going to be that or a Lionel Richie joke, and I didn't have one. So
Well,
I
damn
wrote
it! Kev, thanks for fucking it all up, Sean.
That was
Appreciate
that's
that.
2 years ago, man.
By the way,
I'm here for you.
hit the button.
Kyle's about to be dancing on the ceiling.
Not even that. I just
still have it.
it's on a Saturday.
It's back.
Still got you.
Commodores are going to cover, bitches.
Like Saturday afternoon.
That's right. This will be easy like Sunday morning, even though it's Saturday afternoon. Commodores cover. I'm going to take the under because this will be traditional SEC style play.
All right, EJ.
You know, I said Matt was being disrespectful here with Vanderbilt losing by 25 plus, but I agree with him. Give me Texas, give me.
And why did you even say it?
I was giving you shit. That's all. I was just giving you shit. I was giving you shit. But I agree with you. This is the bounce back. This is going to be a big bounce back for Texas too, especially.
EJ, the spread is as wide as their ranking in the nation. How can you do this?
It's true. It's true.
It's a bounce back here.
Mikey B.
Did you take the over or the under?
Over.
Jesus. He rumbled and he stumbled and he still forgot half
Sure
of it.
did, man.
That was a heck of an effort.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Texas is a brick house, Mike.
Commodores, hey. Good job.
That being said, I feel like this Texas team is going to be very angry. I feel like they're going to be very possessed to come out and show that the loss to Georgia was a fluke. That being said, I think they're going to over try. Give me the Commodores plus the points Give me the
Calm
over.
down, Kyle.
Oh, it's easy like Saturday afternoon.
Thank you for ranking Vandy, you cowards.
You cowards. So we can pick this game. Fuck it. I will go Vanderbilt to lose by 18, thus covering the 19, and I will take the over as
The
well.
disrespect question
So
mark?
wait, that was once, twice, 3 times.
The Commodore.
Of Vandy.
Boom!
Once, twice, 3 times of Andy.
You know, Sean, you're showing your age here. You're really showing your age here. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, I mean he's old, but he's not EJ old.
Well,
so
I'm second old. Remember, I'm second old to the panel.
I could still dunk on you.
The difference is I can throw
you're
away.
7'5", dickhead. Come on.
The biggest difference between me and EJ is I can throw away my AARP mail. He has to read it because it involves his policy number.
Not until he gets his reading glasses out, Sean.
Damn it!
Them reader. Kevin's got a comment here.
Bifocals Jaworski up there.
Kevin's got a question here before we go to our last game. He
No.
said, if Penn State doesn't make the playoffs, do you think they will fire James Frank?
No.
I hope not.
Honestly,
I hope not.
Honestly,
I mean,
yeah, I can see that now.
I mean, I think they find a way to get into the playoffs. I don't think they get left out.
But it's if they get knocked out.
But I'll tell you that if they fall out, if that's the premise of this question, yeah.
I guess they would have had
If
to
he
lose
blows this,
two bad teams.
if this isn't like blowing a big game. This would be like blowing this is like
Few
the
games.
door's open and your foot's through the door and you somehow missed the call. Like, get out of here.
Yeah,
Right, because like right now, like their loss, their one guaranteed loss is against Ohio State in 2 weeks, right? So
He better
next
hope
week.
that loss that gets him out happens on the road because at least then he knows where his next home is.
But otherwise, you're at Wisconsin, home against Washington, at Purdue, at Minnesota, home against Maryland. Yeah, if you lose one or more of those and you miss the playoffs, I do think.
Can you imagine if it's with a home loss to Maryland that
Oh my
pushes him
God!
out?
Here's the deal. I don't want James Franklin fired because I love watching that team ultimately fail under James Franklin. But that'll be the perfect way to go out if you lose to Maryland at home.
On the road at Minnesota. Fuck them.
I mean, if there's another game to lose, it's that one.
If there's a game to dig yourself in a hole, it's against the Golden Gophers.
But how many would they have to lose? Would
3
2 losses push them out? They'd have
Probably.
to lose 3.
Um,
Probably. Depends who they are. It could be with that schedule. You could lose 2.
But I'm saying, no, if you
Well, it
lose,
depends.
you lose to Ohio State, you say Purdue.
Well, if you lose to Purdue, it's going to drop you. I think also with the Minnesota game, I think it's how bad you lose, and what other stuff happens around them. If all the teams, if all the teams behind them, kind of win out as much as they can, a loss to probably an unranked team is going to hurt you the second to last week of the year, because then you're knocked out of the Big Ten title game with 2 losses, most likely. So you're not going to have that chance at redemption, which you're probably not going to get anyway. So
I mean, you're probably knocked out of the Big Ten title game with the loss to Ohio State, because you're probably looking at the rematch between Oregon and Ohio State, because I don't necessarily see,
that's true.
And then 2 loss, 1 loss. Indiana will surpass them. Also 2 on top of that.
There you go. Yeah. So good question, Devin.
Times of Andy.
All right, last one.
So damn great.
Last one.
So proud of you, Sean. So proud of you.
Saturday night, ABC, 7:30 Eastern time. Number 8 LSU, 6-1. They are at number 14 Texas A&M, also 6-1. 2.5 point home favorites. 53.5 is your over under. Matt.
I'm definitely going to take the under on this one. Give me LSU.
Family.
Sean.
Yeah, all you people that hate Big Game Brian like me, don't worry about having to pick against him or for him in the playoff, because this is the start of his ticket out. Texas A&M is going to win this one outright, and they are going to cover the spread. And this one, I'm though with you. I think it's going to be a little bit more defensive than some of the SEC matchups we've seen. They're going to keep it a little lower and stay under.
All right. Student of the game.
Once again, Texas A&M is handed too much respect in a situation involving this time only an Irish remnant. Give me LSU. Give me LSU. I didn't catch who was favored.
A&M minus
A&M
2.5.
by 2.5.
minus 2, yeah.
It's in A&M.
Then gotcha. And then I like the under. I think that's the play.
All right, EJ.
Yeah, give me LSU and give me the under.
Family.
All right, Mikey B.
I will say if there is a tougher place to play in college football that isn't Death Valley, it's Bryant Stadium and or whatever they call that stadium now in Texas A&M. I know they've changed
Kyle
that name.
Field.
Oh, that one. And because we have a Kyle on the panel.
Oh no.
Ooh, Jesus. Shots fired.
Sorry,
LSU at night traveling
corner.
to one of the toughest places in college football to play. That's not something that I'm saying as a suggestion. That's been spoken on by fans and people who have played in that stadium in night games. That being said, give me A&M. I think this is one of those. This is one of those games that goes either way. I think a field goal as time expires ends it. Kind of thing. Maybe it's 20-20 and we get a field goal, so it's 23-20 in favor of A&M, so they get the cover by a half a point. With that mathematical equation, though, I am also taking the under.
I will also take the under.
There wasn't much mathematical about that.
I have watched one big game, night game in Kyle Field once this year, and I know points can be hard to come by. So I will take the under. I will take LSU to cover the 2.5, but on a slight victory, I will take the Aggies to beat Big Game Brian.
By the way, Jim, quick point of order question for you. Let's say Notre Dame went to the Aggies field and lost, but you needed to express your anger with the South Park voice. How would you do it?
Would it be this?
You Cap.
Oh, okay. That feels
like that.
appropriate. Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
about right.
Well, good thing in week 1 of this season that didn't happen. So
correct.
But that was a unanimous under, right?
I believe so.
I
yeah.
feel like when we go through these, if there's ever points where there's got to be some kind of like that's your huddle up surefire bet. Like that's something, which means bet the opposite.
Well,
so if everybody was under, that means that
Nothing is over.
Nothing is over.
Well, as the guy who keeps up with all of the statistical stuff, we had a unanimous one last week. Also, it was the over in Tennessee, Alabama. That didn't turn out that great for us.
That's why I said the real bet is over. That's the real bet now.
Nothing is over.
Right. That was us last week.
Over when I say it's over.
Hey, we made a group NFL pick that was good last week. More on that later.
We did. So let's at that
later. Let's
move to week 8 of the National Football League. No teams on a bye week this week.
How exciting!
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. Like looking ahead, it was like we've had a couple weeks with buys. This week, none. I think like it starts on the buys next week again.
Good joke, Jim. Who's really on a bye? EJ, of course it's a real stat. EJ,
like,
hey guys, I figured out who's on a bye. Ernest.
EJ's on a bye.
Ernest is on the bye this week.
Thank God.
That's right.
Jello brain jackass.
Like,
ninth
send
consecutive
him to
bye.
London.
That's right.
What's wrong with you, man?
Even though there's no games in London, just
send EJ there. Or London correspondent.
Go on a bye and go to
for the
therapy or
entire
something.
year.
Just 1 year?
Sure. All right, let's start Sunday, 1:00 Eastern on CBS. It is the 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles at the 3-4 Cincinnati Bengals, who are a 2.5-point home favorite. You're over under on this one, 47.5. Mikey B, your home game. You'll start the pick.
I mean, I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and tells you that Joe Burrow has been statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League the last 4 weeks of the regular season. The offense is finally clicking. Field goal game. I think this game is going to go back and forth. I think this is going to be a tight one the whole way through. I think whichever team has the ball last wins the game. I'm hoping that that's the Cincinnati Bengals because if there's a game on the docket that feels like you gotta win it to make sure that the momentum keeps going forward, going into the games that we have leading into the bye week. The Raiders, the Ravens, and the Chargers leading into the bye week. I don't think we can slip up now. So I'll take the Bengals to win by 3. So that'll give me the Bengals, and I will take the over.
Also, side note.
Over.
Oh.
Thank you.
Gonna be a lot of that this pick.
EJ.
Of course, it's my game of the week, as I mentioned in the chat 2 days ago.
That's good. You're an idiot.
Bengals defense last 2 weeks been playing much better. Also, granted, against 2 shit offenses, but they play much better. Yeah, I know. But the defense play much better actually. Give me the Bengals here, and the comeback continues for the Bengals, and give me the over.
All right, student of the game.
Listen, as much as I would like to say that Joey Burrow is going to make things interesting for the Bengals, mostly because commentators refuse to acknowledge the existence of a thing called the quarterback sneak. It's going to be a shootout. The over's the play here. Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. The Bengals defense has allegedly improved, but there's going to be exchanges of points here. I feel confident with that.
Allegedly.
And only that, if I'm being honest. Because it's at home, give me the Bengals to win outright, obviously, and I think they will. Yeah, I'll bet the Bengals. Give me the over, though. I think that's the play on the game.
All right, Sean.
A lot of points. Over.
Mhm.
Big surprise. Go Birds. Birds win outright.
By the way, quick aside.
Homer.
I think we've acknowledged here that statistically, not just last week, but every week since about week, I'll say 2 or 3, Mikey Byrne, that Joey Burrow has been pretty statistically awesome. They just don't win the football game.
You're not wrong.
Facts are facts. Matt.
Eagles and the under.
Homer.
Yeah, I do like the over here as well. With the Eagles' weapons getting healthy, with the Bengals' offense clicking, I think that's the play here. I don't like to pick the Eagles, so I'm not. Give me the Bengals to win and to cover the 2.5.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next one. Let's go Sunday, 1:00 on CBS. It is the 4-3 Colts. They travel to the 5-2 Texans, who are a 6-point home favorite. Your over/under on this one is 46. Mikey B.
My question to the panel before I make my actual selection is, would this line be like 4 if Joe Flacco was playing quarterback? Because I feel like he's the better quarterback option in Indianapolis right now.
It's very possible.
Oh, Joe Flacco is much friendlier to my Colts predictions from the preseason than Anthony Richardson has been.
Yeah, they're much more chaotic with Richardson
Is
at quarterback.
Taylor going to play?
I tried to tell you, but you didn't listen.
Whom? I'm sorry.
Taylor's trending towards not playing too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's looking like another week at least.
I mean, I was going to take Houston if Taylor played or not, because Anthony Richardson was going to be the quarterback at the start of this football game, and he has just not been that great. So if Jonathan Taylor is definitely sitting out this game, then I'm definitely taking the Houston Texans.
Not great, Bob.
I'm going to take the over just because maybe there's a chance Anthony Richardson
There's not.
poops his pants and Joe Flacco has to play quarterback.
EJ.
I'm not rooting for an injury. I just want him to shit himself.
Yeah.
Speaking of poop their pants, EJ, your pick.
Yeah. Ooh, hold on. That's right. Texans here and the over, the bounce back here for Houston.
All right, Mike. Mike. Student of the game.
Definitely under. I too have the Texans, regardless of who's playing quarterback. I think the Texans are pissed off after losing last week. More on that later. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, Texans are going to keep running the ball. I think they're going to let the ball fly a little more this week than last. But we have a pretty healthy Joe Mixon, who's also kind of angry about some rules and things. So I'm going to let Joe Mixon run. Give me the Texans as well, but I think that running the ball keeps it under.
I like
All right,
that Mixon take, Sean.
Yeah, I think the Texans minus is the play here, and I will also take the under.
Yeah, Texans in the under, especially with Richardson under center and the injuries there. I don't like the Colts at all. All right, next one. Let's go Sunday, 4:25 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 4-2 Chicago Bears, a 3-point road favorite at 5-2 Washington. Your over/under is 45. Mike.
I guess my question here is, how bad are the ribs of Jaden Daniels? So, as you're listening to this show on Tuesday evening, if you're watching live with us, or if you're listening to this on Wednesday, Thursday, please check your closest injury report before deciding to wager any units.
Do not bet this game. That's the easier thing.
Yeah,
to say.
I would just say don't touch it. But I think at this point you got to roll with caution here and assume they're going to sit him. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
they're going to rest him.
As of this morning, the word was, quote, very much in doubt to play this week.
Okay. There's a sound bite that I would like Mr. Jim to play of a certain team that resides in a town that starts with a C and ends with a Chicago.
Bears.
And the over.
Keep it warm, Jim.
All right, very good. EJ.
Yeah, if he's in doubt, yeah, give me Bears. But if you're going to bet this game, definitely bet the under.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I would touch on this one. Student game.
Jim, I would like a sound call combination of both that and Joel Klatt.
Bears.
And rightly so.
I mean, that situation's just unfortunate. The real loser of this game is America. We wanted to see these quarterbacks face off. We're not getting it. I'm personally pissed off. It's terrible. It sucks. Shouts also to my friend Drew Willingham, who will be at that game. The host of the Commanders. Yes, the host of the Gridiron Commanders Report for Sartoba Media. Oh yeah, what am I doing? Thank you, Jim. So yeah, I'm lamenting this game that bad. I'll be honest. It's the Bears. I just F it under. Well, no, 45's Jack. Slight over.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I'm with Kyle. I think not getting this matchup is brutal. I hope Washington they should announce it early so that he doesn't. I think Jaden's going to want to make a play here and be like, I'm fine, because I think he too wants to see this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that doesn't it's not like, well, let's listen to him and let him play because he's the best thing we've had.
Since the last QB we
let's
let
not
surely the last one we let him kill himself.
Repeated in history.
Let's not RG3 this.
Don't RG3 the guy that's playing exactly like RG3. Give me the Bears. Bears are hot. Bears are rolling. They've had a week to prepare, and now they're going to get to see Marcus Mariota instead. Man, is that a downgrade? I will take the slight over and hope that Mariota musters just enough points late in the game when Chicago decides it's over. I'll take a slight over, but yeah, give me the Bears to roll.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I will take the Bears. I will take the over
Bears
as well.
Ditka.
All right.
Polish sausage.
I will also go with
the Bears.
And I will take. Yeah, I still think you're going to find ways to score points here. So it may not be by a lot, but I will take the over in this one.
Let's go, Brian Robinson. Fantasy points, baby.
I'm talking about my man. All right, last one here. We go Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern time on NBC. It's the team that pretends to be the Dallas Cowboys taking on the battered remains of the San Francisco 49ers. The Cowboys are 3-3. The Niners are 3-4. They are a 4.5-point home favorite. The over/under on this one is 47. Mikey B.
What I will say here is Brock Purdy didn't look that great with no Deebo Samuel and the shell of Brandon Ayuk.
He looked a lot less Purdy.
I won't make that joke because it'll sound really bad, but
yeah, I know. I did it for you.
Appreciate that.
Sean.
What I will say here, though, is while the Dallas Cowboys have been questionable most of this season, they still have CeeDee Lamb. They still have Dak Prescott. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win this football game outright. And I am going to take the over.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
EJ.
This is a get-right game for Dallas here. Off a bye week. You're getting San Francisco right now at the lowest. Ayuk's out for the year. Debo may not play. He's got out of the hospital, I think, today from his pneumonia situation. Who knows if he plays or not. If there's a game that of the 6-game like stretch that right now they're going through now to define their season to win, I hate to say it, this is the game here to do it. Like to me, if they don't win this game, honestly, I could see McCarthy getting fired next week. I really could.
Oh, Jerry already set up the framework for it today.
So that being said, this is all set up for Dallas win. Dallas will win this game. So give me Dallas outright to win this game, and give me the under. Actually,
all right. Let's do the game.
Listen, it was set up very well by Mikey B talking about receiver injuries. Both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin going to miss significant time after Monday night's just unfortunate ending where they're taken out there. Kirk Thuggins is going to be absolutely nuts. Give me the
wrong game.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You fucking divas went to the less good game. My bad.
You right.
Who gives? Nobody's going to watch this fucking thing, so I don't care.
That's
the thing is, so many people are going to watch.
Wait, is this the Sunday night game?
Yes,
it
is.
is.
Primetime game.
God, I'll watch all of it rather than do work at fucking.
Oh, well,
9
your
o'clock at
point
night.
is well made, Mikey B. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the paperwork since the paperwork I have doesn't have the change in it because I guess I clicked on the wrong. Can you give me the spread?
Niners 4.5-point favorite. Over under is 47.
Well, that's way too much. If the Niners are going to win this game, it's only going to be a field goal, and I'm not confident in Brock Purdy. It could have been what I learned if somebody else went to Mike Tomlin. What I'm learning is Brock Purdy is showing the world that he doesn't want more money from San Francisco. So with all that in mind, I'm going to pick the Cowboys because I think at the very least they cover. And what's my over under, please, Jim? I'm sorry.
47.
It's a low number.
I
Slight
think that's what
under.
they're hoping. Yeah.
Light under.
All right, Sean.
Man, the way he looks up when he makes those close picks, I would love to know what he's looking at.
So am I.
just another picture of EJ. It's like a closet love affair. Anyway, this one I'm kind of along the same storyline that Mike and EJ were on. I think one with where the 49ers season is at and the derail. I mean, is it really set up for everyone to assume the Cowboys are going to like reestablish and just bet the money there, and then just the Niners are like, nope.
I mean, the emotion matters in this game, guys. I mean, as much as the Niners have spanked them and been that specter of just complete embarrassment for the Cowboys. No disrespect, Jim. I'm not going after you.
Oh, please disrespect the Cowboys all you want.
I think this is going to matter to the players. I think this is going to matter to them. And the Niners are reeling. I think the intangibles favor the Cowboys here for once.
Well, and they're coming off a bye week. Like there's no reason why they should be underprepared.
That's adorable.
That's why I said it. They lose this game. That's why I said they lose this game. If
I've jinxed you before. I'll jinx you again. Let me.
That's why he's the evil twin, folks.
That's right.
Because either I'm right or they lose. Either way, I win.
Give me my chicken dinner, says Show.
So, yeah, I'm going to get a chicken dinner one way or another. Is it fried? Is it grilled? I don't really care. Let me take the Cowboys to come out and win this thing outright. And Dak Prescott's going to have the game of his life and push this thing over by a mile. So give me the over. Also, I need him to fill in for Jaden Daniels.
The Cowboys under Mike McCarthy 3-1 post-bye week.
Oh, by the way, Jim, not only did I pick them, but I'm starting Dak Prescott in 2 fantasy leagues.
Awesome. Well, I'll get to my.
What was that stat you dropped? I didn't hear.
The Cowboys are 3-1 under McCarthy post-bye week.
Another fun stat here, Jim. The Cowboys are 3-0 on the road this season.
Oh,
can't win in Jerryland, but they can win away from those fans. So give me them boys.
Sounds like the 2022.
They probably have more fans on the road.
Probably. Good God.
Jesus.
At least
They
the
would-
fans on the road are coming out to see them.
I'll say, especially in this matchup, because Niners fans painted that stadium red the last time the Niners came to town.
Sure did.
And Matt, you had the over or under?
The over.
All right. Look, the Dallas Cowboys this year have scored over 25 points exactly one time. I don't see that happening this week. I don't see the Niners in their current offensive state, despite how bad the Cowboys defense is, scoring enough to get over. So take the under in this one. I don't care if the Cowboys are 3-1 under Mike McCarthy after the bye. This team on all levels is an absolute nightmare right now. Like, Jerry Jones stinks. Like, Mike McCarthy stinks. He's a lame duck. Offense stinks. Defense stinks. Yeah. Cowboys, they're going to lose. I will take the Niners even to cover 4.5.
Oh,
Mike McCarthy might not get on the jet.
Ye a little faith, Jim.
So, if both offenses are bad, but both defenses are bad,
not both defenses, but
Niners defense still good.
But could defensive scoring lead to this being the over because of how bad both offenses?
You're setting the table nicely for a bad beat. Fuck you.
Possibly. Basically, look, if you're betting this game, you
deserve a bad beat.
You're a degenerate on levels that not even anybody on this panel is.
Like, if you're betting this game, you've already lost the day games and are trying to somehow make
you're
up
trying
for
to
it.
recover.
You're throwing darts.
Don't do it.
Don't bet the night game.
To be honest, the under is an easy bet here.
Save it
honestly,
for
in my
Monday.
It
opinion.
is.
I
It's
don't
the
even know
smart
the Monday
bet,
game.
but Mike does bring up an interesting point there with both offenses.
I think Fred
being
Warner
bad.
is what gets what gets the Niners to cover if they do win. That's about the best I can do for it.
Save your bets for Monday. Leave this one alone.
And Mike, Devin brings up a great point. If you don't want to suffer through this one, NXT Halloween Havoc is Sunday. So I actually won't have to watch this nightmare.
Unfortunately, I'll be at work, so I'll be watching the nightmare because I won't be able to watch Halloween Havoc till Monday.
Side note, though, if you want an actual safe bet, please take the over in Falcons Buccaneers.
Damn.
Correct.
All right. That is where we leave week 8 in the National Football League, which means there's only one place left to go, and that is to the power rankings.
See, you know, Kyle's not looking forward to this because he didn't even break a move. He's like, I'm already over this.
Actually,
I'm
if
already
I
done.
may-
The long
if I
show,
may,
2-hour
if
show.
I
A
may,
very long show. We should probably.
if I may, really quick, the reason I'm not dancing is I'm refusing to pick a dance because we changed the schedule.
Oh, okay.
Like certain divas who are the AJ Hawk of this show.
Standing on business.
Devin coming out hot.
I gave my reason behind that. I'm not going to continue to let Jim let us talk shit on the Eagles every week and not talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah, Devin didn't hold back here. Devin
What did Devin say?
All right, let's look at the
Look right,
right.
Kyle.
Let's look at the right side of the screen here. EJ, give us your bottom 5. Please.
All right, bottom 5 here.
Oh my God!
There we
it's
go.
gonna be
28 the Raiders, 29 Browns, 30 Titans, 31 Panthers, 32 Patriots. Honestly, you have 10 teams right now. You could be cases with the bottom 5. The bottom 5 is actually harder than the top 10 for me.
So you've said.
It really is.
Yeah. I have all of those teams except for the Raiders in mine in a different order. We'll see them in a second. I'm not
later.
There's no reason to argue over bottom 5.
The only reason the Dolphins are not here anymore is because Tua's back.
Ah, shit.
That is the only reason.
That's my question. All right.
That's the only reason the Dolphins are not here.
So Devin, sorry, bud.
Yeah,
Dolphins are not his bottom.
I'm the same thing as Jim. I have all but the Raiders in my bottom 5.
Okay.
All right, EJ, give us your top 10.
All right, top 10 we go. Number 10, the Steelers. Number 9, the Commanders. Number 8, the Eagles. 7, Bills. 6, Texans. 5, Packers. 4, Vikings. 3, Ravens. 2, Lions. 1, you know who. Chris Jones.
Thank you. Eagles at 8. Sell me.
Okay, before you answer that, part of because I was gonna ask about that one as well because you didn't have the Eagles on your list last week. You had the Commanders at 10. The Commanders won and won big. The Eagles won big.
I'm not allowed to do 8A, 8B. So here's the thing. I believe the Eagles are still the favorites to win the East. Now, we're obviously going to see that matchup at some point next couple of weeks.
Hold on.
I still think the Eagles are a better team than the Commanders right now.
You're stepping on yourself. I have to stop you because
hold on. You asked the question. We answered this question first.
No, the reason why we have to stop here is because the incontinuity has to be answered in order for me to know whether I should continue listening to you. As somebody who has bought in many times on this and on Earnestly Speaking, the theory that I brought up on the Student of the Game about an NFC East power vacuum, you then going and saying the Eagles are going to win the NFC East definitively.
I've still said that. I've still said the Eagles are favorites now. I've still said that. And the second half of that game, well, pretty much second half in the last couple minutes of the first half, turned things around. The defense was flying at the ball. Granted, it's the Giants, of course. It's easy to do that. But I saw what I need to see with the Giants this week.
As Jaden Daniels is hurt and you're concerned.
That's part of it too also as well. But even with Jaden Daniels healthy, I still feel the Eagles are a better team now.
Digging the hole.
Hold on.
Now, go back to the point you're making.
But let me be clear about this, Kyle.
No,
even with Jaden Daniels. Hold on.
Jim.
No, I don't need to say
on. I'm trying to say.
Even with Jaden Daniels healthy, if you ask right now, gun to my head, who I win the NFC East? I have the Eagles. Now, obviously, they'll be playing a couple weeks, and we'll see how that plays out. So, there you go.
So, this week, where Jaden Daniels is hurt is what matters. As
Played part 2 also, yes.
Okay. Continue.
Any questions on my top 10?
I'm fucking proud of you that you finally got the 49ers off of this list.
Yeah, dude. So Kyle and I did a segment today on my podcast, Richard Podcast. Report. Yeah. And we brought the question today about the Niners now. Is this the wall finally? Because we've seen them start slow the last couple of years, but they always seem to figure it out. But it seems like this time around, it feels like this could be it. Now, the only reason why the Niners have a glimmer of hope still is the West. The West is not that good. Like, we'll see. No, obviously, Seattle big win against Atlanta on Sunday. I don't know if they can sustain that. So the bar for the West has dropped a little bit now too. So we'll see. But I think that if the Niners are going to playoffs, it's solely the division, not the wild card.
Is there a case to be made for the Falcons at 10 as a division favorite in the South over the Steelers? Or are you rewarding the Steelers for one good week of looking better than they have all year?
I mean, I would personally, I wouldn't hate the argument of the Falcons now with the
Steelers do have the head-to-head over the Falcons.
Yeah, I was just going to get there.
I don't know what that has to do with the power ranking, but I see what you're saying.
But those things weigh in too also when you're doing these things as well too. Like,
I have the Steelers on my list only because they. I'm kind of with EJ. I don't have them that low, but I think I'm with you, Kyle. Earlier, our talk about Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did have them as a bit of a paper tiger before. Kind of like I got to put them here, but like eventually they'll fall. I think the slight upgrade, I think more than slight, a fairly significant upgrade to Russell Wilson, in my opinion, for an overall offense. I think holds them in.
Yeah.
And EJ, for the record, I have the Eagles at the exact same spot you do.
So my statement of rewarding the Steelers holds for you too, Sean.
Yeah, I mean they've proven they belong in the top 10, and with Russell Wilson, I feel more confident in putting them there than before. It was like, I'll put them here till I don't. And now I feel like I'm putting them here because I think they're going to stay here. Okay. Like, it may not be at the same spot. It may swell, ebb and flow, but I think the Steelers belong in the top 10 and they're going to be in the top 10.
Yeah. The 5-2 that
if I may, Mike has quietly given the best answer for why the Falcons aren't number 10 is because he has the Seahawks at 10, rewarding them for absolutely kiboshing his guy Thuggins.
And correct, because I took them out to put Seattle in.
Gotcha. No, I see it.
Because I had Atlanta in last week, and I went back and forth. They dropped out of my rankings. Obviously, Tampa Bay did after the injuries. In comes Green Bay and Seattle. I know I don't have Green Bay as high as everybody else does. My argument for that is, and I'm going to be very transparent here, I had them unranked last week. I said on this show, when brought to the table, if they were victorious against the Texans, would they be in the conversation of being in the top 10? Yes, I said it was probably going to be around 7 or 8. I have them at 9, and it's more because the Commanders' victory, albeit against Carolina, was still impressive, even without having Jaden Daniels. The only team necessarily in the top 10 that really lost was Houston, who I had at 4 last week. They dropped to 7. I just didn't know that I could take the Commanders where they sit right now ahead of the Texans. And with Green Bay winning that game, I always use the mindset home team gets 3 points. They win by 2 in Lambeau. I think a neutral site. I think that game's as close to a pick 'em as it could be based off of the way that game played out. And honestly, as bad as CJ Stroud played in that game, for them to only lose by 2, I don't necessarily know that CJ has those bad of games consecutively.
That's a great point.
So no, it's not, EJ, and I'll explain why in a minute.
The Texans form thing.
Because I think the part that lands is CJ Stroud can be amazing, but the Texans may still find a way to throw the game away. Remember when as one of if not the lone panelist that picked the pack in that game, it was on the strength of the lack of discipline. And then Stephon Diggs starts a goddamn brawl before the game. I mean, but the punchline being, and I'm not trying to kind of, I don't mean to like completely tank your point. I think the Texans' lack of discipline is the one thing that can work against you with your Stroud statement, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that being said, if I said to you, do you think the Texans, Commanders, and Packers are close enough that I rearranged them with the Packers at 7 because they won the game, and then the Commanders and Texans beneath them because of that and Jaden Daniels' injury, would you be, air quotes, mad at that?
No, but I feel like if you're going to flip them, I think you just flip Green Bay and Houston. I think you leave the Commanders where they're at.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
And the only reason why I didn't do that is, and this is something where the fluidity of my rankings, I take where they were at the week before, penalize, and also then reward teams and move them up. I just didn't think to myself that I could have them jump Washington, who was victorious.
Yeah, and I'm asking the question just not so much to say that yours is wrong. It's just like I think those 3 teams are that close. The only that I would really tear apart is the Eagles at 6. Beating the Giants, to me, is not an accomplishment. So
I don't think it's an accomplishment either. Again, they were in the 7 spot last week. They went up 1 spot, and it's more because Houston lost. I penalized Houston, and it was just the Eagles were the recipient of the gift of me having to penalize the lack of discipline and the lack of a bad game out of CJ Stroud. That I just moved the Eagles up the 1 spot because of that situation. Also, it may have been motivated by the group chat where 2.5 minutes into the game, because they weren't already up 21-0, we heard that the Eagles were in shambles. Their offense wasn't good, which 7 minutes later was debunked by the fact that they scored 21 points right away.
Said that.
First of all, B, let's also remember the homerism towards the Eagles in that chat that should not be adjusting your decision making. Anyway, so
does anyone want to take a guess? Can I defend that, please? Because that's not what I said at all. My issue was not with the offense. It was not with Jalen Hurts, and I don't think Jalen Hurts is the problem. And I don't even think Nick Sirianni is the problem that this statement.
Did you hear what he said in the
like
press conference 3 weeks ago?
I did hear what he said in the press conference 3 weeks ago. But what you're missing is what he didn't say. No, that's not true. I just threw that in there because that's the correct. But you're not hearing what he didn't say. No, the like come back at that only because it came up. I was being clean. I was being cool. Like, I have the Eagles at 8, and to be honest, if Jaden Daniels was healthy, the Commanders would probably be ranked just higher than us in my rankings. I have them at 10, holding because they belong there, waiting for Jaden Daniels and seeing if anyone falls below them. Is pretty much where I have the Commanders. I think they're a very formidable foe, and I think the Eagles have a problem. It's not an unbreakable problem. It's a problem that, to this point, we've been able to muster past. But does anybody have in front of them or happen to know the last time the Eagles scored points in the first quarter?
Probably the Super Bowl.
You would be stretching it a bit farther than you need to.
Sorry.
But the last time that they scored in the first quarter was in week 17 of last season. They scored on a Julio Jones 12-yard touchdown pass with 42 seconds left before the end of the quarter. Before that, it was a QB sneak. And the 2 games prior to that, they had 7 points and 3 points, respectively. This is all under – now, I understand that's at the tail end of a collapse, and it was a rough situation, and I see Matt chomping at the bit. I'm not – are we recovering from it for the most part? Do we still have rank very highly in offensive statistics? Yes. Is Jalen Hurts playing much better? Are his turnovers inflated by Philadelphia media? Yes. His turnover numbers are not drastically bad when you compare him to other quarterbacks in the league. I understand all of the arguments against Nick Sirianni being a problem, and I don't even know if he is. The problem is somewhere in the line of command. If you're not scoring in the first quarter for that many weeks in a row, you're setting – fortunately, in this run, the defense has been fantastic and has also held the opposed. You know, the only time we didn't in this recent run was against Tampa Bay, and we never got back in that game because they set the tone early. They did what we can't. They prepared for us, and they made us look silly. And then we made it look good the rest of the way, but never really gained any ground.
The Tampa Bay game's a bit of an anomaly. They were missing all of their offensive weapons that day.
Correct. And I've told that to my students who are probably going to watch this later. That one's not an example. But it shows what can happen when you score early, even if it's against an inferior opponent like, say, the Browns or the Giants, which, by the way, we did not score in the first quarter against in either game. It sets you up for a harder game than it needs to be. And that Atlanta Falcons game where the Falcons came back and Coopins made us look silly in primetime at the end of a game, had you scored 7 or 10 points in the first quarter, it's a completely different game. And if your game plan is consistently not scoring points, I get it. Sometimes it doesn't work. You got to make adjustments. I'm not asking them to score first every time. I'm not asking them to come out and take a lead early every time. But at some point, the drive you plan for your first 10 plays, the plays that no one has to call a play because you've run them 100 times with guys like A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley, and there's no reason why we should not have scored in the first quarter, in my opinion.
That being said,
but that's why they're at 8. That's why the Commanders would be higher. And that's all I'm going to say.
The Commanders
and if somebody wants to come the other direction later.
The Commanders who handily beat the Giants, right?
Well,
sure did.
Yeah,
at least in my brain.
By 3?
Yeah, three huge points.
The Eagles being at 6 too, it just felt a tidge high. That's the only reason I bring it up. But I say all that to say this: it's nice to see the panel unanimously give the Bills respect for being augmented by Amari Cooper and EJ Christian, proving that he's bald Emmanuel Acho and doesn't watch the fucking games.
Well, he has no idea where the Bills
to EJ's credit, he didn't have the Bills on his top 10 last week at all.
And now he does.
Wrong then,
now he launched them.
Two things happened here. Bills big win and Amari Cooper also.
So what you're telling me is Ernest just likes to go full send. This reminds me of the Baltimore Ravens being unranked and then all the way launching up to 3rd and not moving out of the top 3 ever since.
I mean, somebody had to replace the 49ers.
Right, true. Had the Cooper trade had happened before I turned in my my assignment here, Jim.
Oh, here we go.
Might have been in case for the Bills last week.
They should have been out. They should have been in your list and not the Niners last week. Regardless,
wait a minute. If the Cooper trade had happened before you turned in your list last week, you mean?
Yeah, last week.
Okay. I thought you were saying this week at first. I'm double.
No, the trade happened. The trade happened after he submitted the
He
list.
played. He played Sunday because
Right. The problem is I told the list before. The mistake was he didn't have the Bills on the list prior to the trade.
Correct.
By the way, it's nice to see, EJ, whether you follow the light side or the dark side. I just want to throw out the two Nice brothers lists are incredibly similar, minus the Commanders kind of.
Well, 2 through 4. Well, 3 and 4.
But I don't even have to defend the Lions because our host, the niece from the light.
Well, he's
he's
also Homer.
I mean,
fears the Lions.
I mean, I had the Lions at 1 last week. I wasn't going to move them after beating the Vikings.
I too would have had the Lions at 1 last week. By the way, I did not get a list in.
Yeah, like so that the
winds were blowing.
The big thing, the big movement there for me: Chiefs up, Ravens up, Vikings down to 4, and then of course Texans fell a little bit.
Okay.
Loss, Bills, Packers.
It feels like the panel has determined, and this is going to go back to something else that was in the chat. Tier 1, we all have the same 4 teams in a different order as
Lions,
the
Chiefs,
top
Ravens,
4.
Vikings. Yes.
No, I'm saying we all have Lions, Chiefs, Vikings, Ravens as the 4 top teams in the National Football League in our power rankings.
Currently, yes.
That is what I'm saying. The panel seems like it has come up with that is tier 1 of the NFL right now.
Of the list made, yeah.
And then 5 through 10 is the tier 2s, and then you have a couple teams that are just off of it that you can make the argument for.
Like the Seahawks.
So I know. So from my list, the 2 tier would be 5 through 8. Like I think those teams were easy. 9, 10. Like I rewarded the Eagles because they weren't. No, I didn't have them on my list last week. I didn't have the Steelers. So they were near. They got back in. I don't hate the arguments for Atlanta, like Kyle said, especially now that you're kind of somewhat in the driver's seat for the South, or the Seahawks with the big win this week.
So my tier 2 would be 5 through 9, and then my tier 3 would be 10 through probably 14, 15-ish. Sure. So my question here for the panel, looking at your 5 through 9, 5 through 10, which one of these tier 2 teams is going to break into tier 1 before this season is over?
For me, it's Philadelphia.
No, it's not Philadelphia for you.
It's Philadelphia for me.
10 green toes down. It's green.
Right, you already have the Packers in your NFC title.
You can let him answer. I mean, he's usually wrong, so that's not good for us.
I mean, you saying the Eagles right now, EJ, it might be the most.
They're the most capable. Well, and I mean, they also have to win against the Packers too. Granted, it was on a neutral field, but whatever.
On a neutral field,
I think there's
actually yeah, I was going to say that. I think there's actually 2 or 3 teams. Actually, I can make a case for.
They may fall back out.
One team that is in your tier 2, 5 through whatever, that can be the team to distance themselves from the rest of tier 2.
So you're saying at the end of the season, or you're saying the first one to do it? Because there are going to be teams that go in and then come back out.
Right.
What team between now and the final power ranking that you give Jim?
Okay, so in the
final week
ranking
of the regular season, who is
That's
that team that becomes the team
so
to break into the
who goes in and never comes out?
So based on stability right now, I'll go to Green Bay then, because stability. Philly now. I do think if things are cool in Philly now, if things are okay, which Matt is now, his vibe is that things are cool.
He's
cool, but nothing's
I
wrong.
never said that they weren't cool.
Exactly. So if you go based on Matt's vibes, which I'm cool with.
It's not my vibes.
I'm telling you. Listen, you're the guy. I said those optics, man. You said it's wrong.
I'm Jason Kelsey and Brandon Graham. I trust them more than Nick Wright
I'll take
and Emmanuel Acho and you, EJ.
No, I don't. I'm
sorry if I hold
because he's black doesn't mean I said anything.
In the locker room, I hold their opinion of the coach higher. I'd also like to point out that 3 weeks ago, you said that it was asinine that Sirianni should be on the hot seat. And then they won their next 2 games. And 2 minutes into the first quarter, you said changes need to come if they're going to turn things around.
Well, see, the funny thing about sitting on a fence, Matt,
I didn't say
you
change
can
it.
very easily go and look
Do
at
I-
either
don't
side.
make me screenshot your words again, EJ.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking right now. See if I myself, Matthew. Hold on a second.
Gentlemen, Big Jim, this might be the only time I criticize your producing skills, but since I literally told you what he was going to say, I would like a Lucifer Morningstar, please.
Oh, I'm going to even hit you with this one.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
I just need your kid dunk on you, EJ.
Yeah.
For the record, the team in my tier 2 that goes into tier 1 is the Buffalo Bills.
Correct, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
That
it's
would be it.
one reason alone. The rest of that division is going to hand them some more.
Kyle, would you feel better if I said Buffalo 2 also? Would you feel
Well, the
better about
one reason is Josh Allen. The second reason is the division's terrible. Yeah, they're gonna just hand him some.
I mean, I don't remember who's backing up John. Oh yeah, it's Trubisky. Never.
that? I mean,
mind.
the question is that he's asking what the problem is not the problem.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is.
Mike's question was
that's
one,
first round pick, Mitch Trubisky.
That's right. No, Mike is saying one team though. I could see multiple. I could see 3 teams here cracking that tier 1.
I could see the Vikings falling out.
Right.
No doubt.
So once again, fence sitter, we asked for one, and you're
Well,
trying
first
to
off,
make a
and
case
I
for
said this,
multiple.
and I said this today on the Speaker podcast today with Kyle that my tier 1 is actually only 3 teams, not 4.
He did say that
because you don't have the Vikings.
Although Kyle did say that the Vikings could be a low end tier 1. Was that low end tier 1 team today?
it could be a low tier 1. Just because we haven't seen enough, being beat by the Lions shouldn't penalize you, even though they did their damage.
I feel like for me, that 3, 4, 5 on my list: Vikings, Ravens, Bills, and I feel like if it keeps playing out, the Steelers could kind of just start lumping it. Right now, I feel like Vikings through Steelers. We'll stay Vikings through Bills. 3, 4, 5 on my list. In my opinion, even though we can call the top 4 my tier 1, I mean my tier 1 is like Lions, Chiefs. Like those are the 2 I'm sure are the 2 best teams in football right now.
Sean, I don't even think my wife would have the Steelers at 6. That's
Look, I have the Steelers at 6 because their record puts them there. I feel like they're going to hang with the Ravens, and they're probably going to split with the Ravens. They're going to split. They're not going to lose ground in head-to-head because they never do.
They
Mike
do.
Tomlin will find a way to beat them once. And
Even
so
with-
they're just going to
even with
hang in there.
Trubisky.
And every time I bet against the Steelers, the ball bounces their way, things go well, and somehow Mike Tomlin never has a losing record, even though I still don't believe in him as much as anyone else.
He's good. Maybe he's a pretty good coach.
And
don't accept that.
I think I think they're playing really good ball, and they're doing it the right way. They're using the players they have in front of them. They're letting the defense run the show. It feels like old-time Steeler football, even more than Tomlin usually runs. And so I have them a little inflated right now, mostly because I think the Commanders would have pushed them down. I probably would have had the Commanders sitting at 6 if everything was healthy and all's well. And they may work their way back up there. I hope they don't. I hope the Commanders fall the fuck apart, right? And we're talking Eagles pushing in, because I am going to answer Mike's question, I'm going to go with EJ's original one. Is it probably the Bills? Yeah, but you already made that play. And then Kyle screamed something, and I don't like Kyle right now because he's pushed me into a corner 3 times during this show.
Hey, Sean, I got you.
What an asshole,
So
right?
Jim, play it.
You got.
Yeah, you, Kyle. Screw you and your Bills. I hope Josh Allen falls off a bridge.
It's not
Aaron
Rodgers.
Wow.
Actually, not really. I love Josh Allen. He's a really good.
It
guy.
is not my fault.
Um,
Aaron Rodgers
look,
sucks. It's Jim's.
The thing is, the Bills were winning before Amari Cooper got there, and the Bills are going to win after Amari Cooper gets there because their division's trash. And
that is true.
That's true.
I don't.
You're going to
remember-
add Tua to a pile of
Tua.
garbage, and that pile of garbage is going to start to rise like stinky smells do. And they're going to rise up, and they're going to play at a peak level, but they're so far goddamn behind that they're never going to get there. But the other 2 teams are going to go, Bills, would you like some wins? And yes, and the Patriots are like, we got them for you. And have that.
Well,
so the Bills will probably be there, and which means that one of the other teams, is it Pat Mahomes continuing this decline that he's on? I don't know what that decline is. He's undefeated, but I keep reading about it. I keep reading about Pat Mahomes being under. I think the Eagles. For me, the Eagles. And am I a homer? You can play it if you want. Maybe.
Homer.
Am I the first one that came out and attacked the Eagles this week? Yes.
Yeah.
because I'm just tired of watching the same first quarter. Like, I shouldn't have to be sweating this long into a game. That's my big argument.
But you're not as bad as Matt, though. Matt's always
so
over too.
that's my big thing. It's not the end of the world. I'm with Matt also, because Matt's right that the Philly media blows this crap up, and that the media in general makes Jalen Hurts look like a piece of garbage. Sirianni, for the most part, makes himself look like a piece, but that's just because
he's a racist.
But he shaved his head. We're 2-0. It's let's keep rolling. I like his
Undefeated in the
haircut.
shaved head Sirianni era.
Yeah, I'm with it, man. Why do you think I keep mine? Mostly because I can't grow it. But also because I'm with.
Clearly
things are like
makes him
not
more handsome,
terrible.
Sean. Look handsome with the bald head.
Look, the Eagles are playing good defense. The same things I said about the Steelers, and like somehow pulling things out with the defense, the right play, winning on the right side of the ball. The Eagles are doing that right now. If we can start getting out with our game plan and getting ahead early, I think that's why, and I hope it turns around. I hope Matt's right. I'm gonna put us in at the end of the season in that first tier.
The reason for me, I think it's the Bills, is a combination of, and I'll make this quick because Jesus Christ, we're at 2.5 hours.
Insane.
Over 2.5 hours.
Is the rest of their division stinks, but within the remainder of their schedule as well, you still have games at Seattle, at home against Kansas City, at Detroit. So if you're going to get into that top tier because the rest of the division around you is bad, and you're going to keep racking up wins, you're also going to have the opportunity to beat two of the top teams in the league. In fact, in these lists, the top two teams. So even if you split, if you split those games, and your loss is not like a blowout, embarrassing loss, and I don't think it will be because the way the Bills are playing right now, to me that is going to prove that you are among the best in the National Football League.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet this season, right?
I think, to correct me and EJ earlier about like multiple teams, I feel like what EJ and I have both recognized is, much like you said with that schedule, I think that second tier, most of that second tier has a path. It may involve beating a certain team twice. It might involve beating the Chiefs. It might involve beating the Lions. Whatever that situation is, some of them less probable than others, but I think there's a path for all of them. But clearly the Bills and the Eagles seem to be the two, but the Bills are the most obvious choice, and I kind of went against it to be not obvious, because I hate Kyle.
I'll also add too, though, that on EJ's list,
thank you, Kyle.
But on EJ's list, I would reiterate too that if the Chiefs lose to the Bills, the Chiefs will stay number one because they have a quality loss.
Well, right, and I mean,
correct.
And this is the ludicrousness of sports.
Who do you trust? Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money.
Championship pedigree.
I trust my heart, and it's cold, and it's dark, and it's angry.
Okay, and on that note, let's go to this.
Let's do it.
There, lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, we're going to look ahead to the weekend in front of us, and one thing that will happen this weekend. Matt, we'll start with you. What's going to happen this weekend?
Lock up the Cowboys winning on their path to the playoffs so that Jim has to really start thinking about growing out his hair from the end of this season to next season.
Lock it up.
Trust me, even if they would make the playoffs, I have zero confidence that they do the thing. Sean, what is going to happen this weekend?
Man, I was going to make a Cowboys play too. That's very disappointing. God. Well, I'm going to do it. If you are interested, if you have anyone in your league that is on the fence on whether they're going to keep CeeDee Lamb because they're panicking and they're a Dallas fan, and you can buy him now, because CeeDee Lamb is going to blow up this week. This is going to be a CeeDee Lamb week. This is going to be a 2-touchdown week for CeeDee Lamb. And I was going to go 150, but I'll just take the 100. Give me a century mark and 2 touchdowns for CeeDee Lamb this week.
Lock it up.
All right, let's do it in the game.
I have to shake my head because I feel like you're onto something there.
And he hates you.
Two teams currently ranked 20th or lower in the college football rankings will fall out of the rankings.
Okay. All right.
Lock it up.
EJ.
I don't know if he's starting this week. I'm assuming he is, but even if he does, Daniel Jones will get pulled once again in Pittsburgh.
Lock it up.
All right. Mikey B.
Well. Here we are again.
Something, Joey Burr.
I almost predicted last week that Iowa State would find a way to lose to UCF. This week, the Mormons from Brigham Young enter the bounce house, and they lose to the UCF Golden Knights. Yes, Golden Knights.
Wow. Because I want fucking anarchy.
Okay, listen.
Lock it up.
First of all, I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. No, this is literal. Since 2007, they've been the Knights. No, Mike, I agree with you. Golden is better, but because I have to have some credibility covering for the black and gold banneret, I have to say it out loud. A, B, I can only do so much to save you from yourself, man. They had 62 yards passing last week.
There's a reason why Vegas has them at -1.5.
Because they're
favorites. No, because they have to come from Utah to Florida.
Okay.
They're not conditioned to
Speaking
play.
from here, I think
in
a
the
lot
heat.
of people from Utah come here. I've seen them.
No, I believe those are New Yorkers. You just got them confused.
My bad.
I hear what you're saying, and normally I do side with the west to east argument, Mikey B, but
3:30 game in the middle of Orlando. Yeah, it's about to get real hot.
62 yards passing last week.
I literally watched a mobile quarterback who had like 185 passing yards for his career literally almost beat this BYU team until he dislocated his shoulder going into the half. And I also watched them get a gift of 5 missed tackles as they scampered into the end zone to save their season with 17 seconds left. Eventually, the clock is going to strike midnight, and it's going to strike midnight in the bounce house.
It's actually going to strike midnight in 45 minutes.
Correct. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here. The college football world gets shaken up once again when number 3 Penn State travels to Wisconsin and loses to the Badgers, thus starting the track to James Franklin. Unfortunately for Penn State haters in the state of PA, getting fired at the end of this year.
I want it to be true, Jim.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta speak
You got to
it
dream big.
into an existence.
You and Mike, I would love to see both of those things, but no.
Look, we're already at 2 hours 40 minutes. We're not going to do plugs this week because if I let Kyle plug his, we're going to hit 3 hours. All of our Twitter handles are in the episode description on the podcast side of the world. So go to those, please click those because everything that these people do, including and especially student of the game Kyle Nash, with the myriad of things that he covers, are very important. So please go check those out. You can get us on all podcast platforms. You subscribe on YouTube. Get us on all of our social medias. Until next week, we will try to tighten things up a little bit around here. But until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.